I can't get high no more. I think I hit the ceiling. Open up my head, I'm peeling. I feel the hazy feeling. I try to cage my feelings. I just get stuck in my mind. I just keep thinking my time away. You only got so much time in the day. I only got so much time, I can't wait. I gotta do it today. After what I've been through, I'm okay. Such a miracle, I can't believe it. Swearing to God and I'm praying to Jesus. Swear you got demons, so bitch, I'm a demon. When you say you love me, do you mean it? How could you love me, then leave me? Yeah. Shit, I still come out okay. I come out okay. Wait, came out okay. Although I've been plagued, yeah, I still come out okay. Still come out okay, yeah. It's too much, it's too much. I can't trust again. Fall in love, fall in love, fall in love. I don't know if it's the drugs or my lens. I can't see where I'm going. Take my hand. It's too much, it's too much. I can't trust again. Fall in love, fall in love. I don't know.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 2. The unexpected, because to be honest, when I started this whole thing, I didn't think it was going to turn into a weekly thing, but here we are. Welcome to episode 2 of our State of the Election podcast, featuring me and my good friend Bob here. Bob, how you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. It's a lovely Monday here in Gotham. Weather is rainy as usual. And I'm ready to talk about the state of our presidential election here, as we've had had a lot of interesting things happen over the last week or so.
Yeah, we
DNC
kind
is
of
come and gone.
took last week off just because DNC took place most of the week. We were watching every night for hours and hours
Yes,
and
unfortunately,
hours.
sometimes.
um, and plus there's just a lot to absorb. I thought about doing something the day after and stuff, and I kind of wanted the weekend to collect thoughts, to gather some more, information and
Absolutely.
some other things. And so we are back. We are here to talk about the DNC in its full. And so, yeah, with that, let's get started. Well, before always on this, because this is our little political podcast, I just have to play the beginning of
You
this.
call that human rights, China? I call it human wrongs. Comedy. Sundays on TNT.
It's a picture.
That's right. That's right. I will never get over that. I can't. I'll tell you what. Kamala coming back into the election does give me one good thing, and that is Maya Rudolph coming back as her on SNL, because I think she plays her very kind of non-biased. She'll do some really dumb things and say some really dumb shit on there and stuff. And I think they play into it pretty well. I enjoy Maya Rudolph on there. But with that, Bob, let's get started. Night 1 of the DNC. What did you think so far? Let's some kind of, or actually before we get into each night, what are your kind of initial thoughts of the DNC as a whole?
So I think the DNC as a whole, as far as for Democrats, I think overall it was a pretty good showing. I feel that even though she is the candidate, Kamala gave probably the worst speech out of all of the speakers at the DNC. I would say she just slid over the line of what Joe Biden's speech was. I mean, his was, for him, pretty decent. He didn't flub up too much. But yeah, she kind of seemed to be the weakest part of her DNC, where you had Obama, Michelle, and Barack both speak, which of course they're going to speak eloquently and they're going to speak brilliantly. Bill Clinton, which was it's a head scratcher for me when you're constantly pointing the finger to the other side of the aisle about the other guy being a rapist and a sexual predator.
Yeah,
so that makes perfect sense.
Hey, yeah, everybody, a lot of people did agree that, like, listen, love you, Clinton, but you're not the best one for us.
Yeah,
here
he wasn't the best. I didn't think he was the best pick. That was weird to me. Then you have somebody like Bernie Sanders, who's always going to speak great, and everybody's going to love what he says. But again, that's a little funny because you have Bernie speak, and his whole thing is, you gotta tax the billionaires. There should be no billionaires. And then he is literally, I mean, the very next guy to follow him
Is a
is a
billionaire.
billionaire. So
Yes.
it's that kind
Yeah.
of stuff is weird. So we don't
Yeah.
like billionaires, but we're going to cheer him because this one's a Democrat. But overall, though, the DNC for them was good. They had a great turnout. Looked like a lot of people were energized about being there. Seemed like they were having a good time. So all in all, I think for them it did go overall. It did go well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think overall too, for the most part, I do agree. I mean, I heard commentator went on Bill Maher this weekend and kind of talked about. I think both conventions, to be honest, went well for their parties
Yeah,
for the most part. I do agree. Yes, there was definitely what feels like a lot more energy, I guess, at
sure.
at the Democratic convention. But
Mhm.
either way, still, they both of them present very well and bring out good speakers and stuff to hit on the points that they want to for their parties and stuff. A lot of information is definitely thrown out, especially on the floor during interviews during the day, all the senators that are there and stuff. Um, yeah, I do agree. I completely agree with you in that I think Kamala was her own kind of worst enemy here, in that, especially with some of the speeches, um, over the last, 3 nights before, was just kind of very meh,
Yeah, I mean,
and
this was her chance to give us
this was
some information here.
yes, this was her chance to really address the nation, address the Democratic Party too. As to what really her plans are. I know she's only a couple weeks into planning her campaign and stuff, but these are things that need to start coming out now because we're only
Yes.
now 2 months away from the election.
And not only
Um,
that, we're less than a month away from when these two people are going to be at some debate somewhere. I have no clue what's going on now with these debates, as she's agreed to the September 4th date, which apparently now has to be a sit down debate with notes, which I don't like at all. I don't like either candidate having notes at a debate. I don't like it being sit down either, where it's just like a
Interesting.
discussion. It is interesting,
But
but
who
this
is
is ABC. I
so
think this is
ABC?
ABC.
So from what I understand, it is the networks that are coming up with these rules and restrictions.
Yes,
Kamala had released a statement saying she asked that they've requested, her campaign has requested that both her and Trump's mics be unmuted, that they're able to speak, and she asked for a live audience. Um,
see
so
if that's the case. I don't know why she wouldn't accept the other two debates he proposed then.
she requested those terms and stuff. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign is asking for muted mics and is asking, and so
Because
which is
that's how it was the last debate, I believe. Between him and
yes.
Biden, they did have their mics muted while the other was talking so nobody could interrupt.
Well, now there's kind of a confusion because Trump has stated many times that he also wants the mics unmuted, and
Yes.
Kamala basically she made an accusation, saying like what we've dealt with Trump's team is that they want the mics muted, and so she's claiming I don't even think Trump knows what his team is that his team is trying to keep the mics muted.
Yeah, that is pretty
Um,
confusing because I'm pretty sure he did do because he did make appearances today. He was at Arlington, and
mhm,
then he did do like a small, I wouldn't say a rally. It was kind of like a conference, but rally style, where he officially introduced Tulsi Gabbard
okay,
coming over to his campaign.
right.
And I believe after that, somebody did ask him a question. A reporter did ask him a question in regards to the muted mics, and I believe he said something to the effect of, "Well, the last debate I had with Joe, the mics were muted." In his words, he said he doesn't mind which it is. He'd do it with the muted mics. He'll do it without it. I just want them to set debates here. And
Yeah.
I honestly think I really would prefer that we got 3 debates in the month of September, seeing as how we really haven't heard much from her, and I would like to hear something from her. And the debate stage is the best place to do it.
Mhm.
And I don't see why these people can't agree on 3 debates with the same structures or 3 different structures, so it's fair for everybody. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And they're on different networks, so you're going to get each network's going to get a chance to have their side up there. So I just think, I think for our benefit, for the people's benefit, That's what should be happening, but we'll see how that goes because this is, I mean, both parties right now are playing, are tossing the ball back and forth to each other right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of drama that needs to just kind of let's get
Yeah,
over it and let's get on with
yeah,
it. I do think I would like to see at least 2 debates in
at the very
September
least,
and
yes.
one or two in October as we get closer. They
Yeah,
also need to schedule a town halls in between that. And admittedly, Kamala is behind on the campaign trail, so she's having to, which I will say too, that was nice to, she was not there the entire DNC. I think she was only there the first and the last night because she had to go campaign and stuff. And so
yes,
she's,
she showed up as a little
um,
surprise the first night, and then yep,
yeah, to
she was there
introduce
for.
Biden. She
Yes,
showed up to introduce Biden, which makes complete sense and stuff.
yes,
But but yeah, I thought overall she was the weakest part. But there were some things I really liked and didn't expect really
okay,
to come out of the DNC that I was really happy with. I thought I thought President Obama just did. He gave, as he always does, he gave a phenomenal speech, and he touched on a lot of things that I have a lot of respect for him. To acknowledge and stuff, and that is that we can't be this party that is all focused on everything we want. We're always going to get everything we have to reach across. We have to understand that half of the nation thinks a different way, and we have to try to understand and find some common ground and some some way of agreeing, and stuff. And so he definitely made some comments and said some things that I was very happy with, and then that I hope that a lot of Democrats kind of take away because yeah, it's kind of become this on both sides. I either we get everything that we want or nothing, and screw the rest of the country, and so
yeah.
it's
You have to have some bipartisanship to
yes,
to get to get certain things done. You have to be able to work together with people of the opposite political affiliation. Um, So, but
absolutely,
I agree. Not to interrupt you, but I do agree. His speech, yes, as far as that goes, absolutely, that was a banger.
yeah. Um, that I thought Tim Walz was very impressive, very impressive. So yeah, I thought overall, like you said, really good for them. Still some issues which we're definitely gonna get into here and stuff. But with that, let's start with night one. Bob, I know you have some points to bring up for night one, Mister Biden. I know, like you said too, the Clintons also spoke that night, which
Yes, which I have a lot of stuff.
yeah,
I got a lot of stuff here, but yeah, I'll start yes with Mr. Biden because that was what I was most interested in to hear what he was going to say. I may or may not do a Biden impression when I quote him.
please do.
Uh, okay. Um, And of course, we did talk about a couple of these things
Yeah,
earlier in the week when we were talking here and going over stuff. Now I might be a little confused here because I got so many notes. But
no worries. Yeah.
what was the actual date of the first day of the
Let's see.
DNC? I do have stuff organized, but I'm looking at something else in my notes here
The
just to see if.
19th.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, perfect. Okay, so then when we get to the last day, I can touch on this other stuff. Okay, all right. So on the first day, so we had sitting president, current president of the United States, Joseph R. Biden, come out and make a speech. And in that speech were a lot of things said. And as I did say, he did do pretty well for him compared to
for
the
an
last time we heard him talking.
for
Yeah.
several hours past his bedtime and talking
Yes.
that long, the
Yes.
man did all right.
Which I want to say, I do feel bad for the man because not only did he get bumped from the presidency, he also got bumped from prime time at the DNC. Um, so that's how much that party really cares about him that they kept him up way past his bedtime. But
They
anyways,
had
I
to.
digress.
They were going to have a performance that night too that they had to bump. I forgot.
You know what? I keep hearing that because I'm pretty sure I kept hearing the rumor about Beyonce showing up on the last day, and they kind of hung that all the way out till the end. And oh no, yeah, she never was coming. Her camp
Right.
decided to say, but we'll get to that again at the fourth day.
Yeah.
But to get
Which
to
I'm
the
actually very happy she didn't show up, mind you.
so am I.
Yeah.
That we don't need any of that. But So during his speech, and I hope anybody who watches and who's listening to this, you're more than happy to fact check what I'm fact checking him on. By all means, do, because I'm not a political professor or anything like
Yes.
that. All I am is a simple person who will do a Google search and check out things. And I do have sources written down. So statements he makes and things I
I'm a
contradict of
simple
him,
man.
I am going to give you some sources where I'm getting my information from.
Yes.
So that way I'm literally not just Googling the opposite of what he says.
Right.
Um, but one of the things he started out with in his speech, of course, we got to go to this always. And we're only about, I don't know, about a month and a half from the assassination attempt on former President Trump. But one of the things Biden said in his speech was, we got to beat the hell out of them. Um, so I don't know. That could be construed as a call to violence. Who knows? Um, he also said, Donald Trump said that Nazis are good people and that there were good people on both sides of white supremacists. My God. Um, unfortunately,
That's
he really
great.
did. He
That
really
is
did.
exactly, yes.
My God. He kept, that was his catchphrase of the night. Um,
My God.
Unfortunately, what Trump actually said was this is referring to Charlottesville. He said that he did condemn white supremacists, white nationalists, and Nazis completely and utterly condemned
Yeah.
them.
Yes.
And the other people that were there were good people on both sides. So he wasn't saying that Nazis and white nationalists were the good people. Those people were condemned. The other people outside of those specific groups happened to be some good people on both sides. So that's fine. Um, Once again, we can't go without him saying that Trump is Hitler. Again, this is just a little over a month since since his assassination attempt. So it's just
Yes.
stuff rhetoric like that just kills me. Um, Here we go.
I mean,
Next, oh, go
yes.
ahead.
Well, I mean, yes, but the thing is, I just at this point, it's just at the point where both sides need to stop with that crap.
Well, yes,
Um, you know, Trump's doing the same thing with Kamala too, and like it's the end of the world if she becomes president. We need to stop her and all this other stuff. And like, yeah,
yes.
just that rhetoric needs to leave politics in general from both sides because now it's becoming there's this point where just because I would say it started more on the right with Trump and stuff. Now it's this equal thing where
Yes, everybody's just
I can't.
yeah, and it's just stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can't defend
It's
Biden
just
or any of
stupid.
that stuff. I can't defend. They're all
Yeah,
just
they're all just doing it. So it just
yeah,
and again, I'll concede that I absolutely admit he did start that when he came in 2016. I'm not against that. I'm all for a little shakeup in
right,
the political sphere. So,
right.
but at this point, we need another shakeup.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, this shakeup has gone a bit too far. I think
yeah, yeah,
that's
it's gone on now for far too long.
yeah,
Another thing Joe Biden said was he talked about the economy, inflation being down. Okay, so the inflation being down. This is according
yes,
to the U.S. Budget Committee. Um, Inflation is up nearly 20%. This is total inflation, okay?
okay,
Since Joe Biden took office, and since when Trump took office till he left, and from when Joe took office till now, Trump's total inflation was only 6 to 10%, compared to right now, where total inflation for Joe is sitting at about 20.
yeah,
Right now, a family of four needs to make and spend an extra $17,000 a year to maintain the standard of living that they could afford before Biden was the president. And again, that
right,
comes from the U.S. Budget Committee themselves. Once again, though, I'm going to call out the fact that there is media bias here because there was no fact checking done at this DNC for any of the speeches for anybody whatsoever. Um, Another thing that he brought up was the racial wealth gap, saying that it's the smallest it's ever been in 20 years. Now, this is according to Brookings.edu. While the black wealth in this country is increasing, so is the racial wealth gap at the same time. Since 2010, the racial wealth gap between both white and blacks has been persistently expanding. It reached its peak in the year of 1992 when whites were were making more than blacks by $123,910. It peaked
Right.
to its highest at 2022, and since COVID, it's gone up an additional $50,000.
Right.
So that's why the economy's not looking so good, and that's why the racial gap is so disproportionate. My God, here we go. Violent crimes, lowest it's been in 50 years. Thank you very much. Jesus, not really. According to the MCCA and the NYPD, assault murder rates are higher before COVID. Assault is up 29% since 2019. Murder is up another 9% since that same time period. This is the one that kills me the most, and the one that is just so outright disgusting to say. The leading causes of death in children is a bullet. A bullet, that's what he said. A bullet is the most leading cause of death in children. I'm quoting from the CDC here, and this is at children from ages 1 to 14. Okay, apparently 15 to 18, they're not really counting children, but from ages 1 to 14, which we would consider real children, underlying causes of death between 2018 and 2022, which is the latest CDC study, has the actual number one leading cause of death as diseases which are residual, which are non-injury diseases. Second would be motor vehicle incidents. Third would be cancers. Fourth is malformation, deformation, and abnormalities. Fifth is bullets and firearms, which is just above drowning and suffocation. That one kills me because while we do have issues with guns in this country, he's making it seem as if children are dying every second from gun violence every day of the year.
I think now I think that is the thing. Like, yeah, Biden does this thing where he uses statistics in a very weird way and doesn't. So, like, I think amongst other countries, yes, like our children dying or
most other countries are banned.
Yeah, is like ridiculously high, and even in countries where it's not banned, where guns aren't banned and stuff like that. So yes, yeah, he's in, but yeah, the leading cause of death in children is not.
No, it's not. What else did you have to say? Oh, we've had the safest border and the fewer crossings. It's down 50%. No. Between January 2020. In January of 2020, we had 36,000 crossings. Okay, that's under Trump. July of 2024, and these are just that month. I'm not going the whole year yet, but just that month. So January 2020, Trump had 36,000 crossings. July 2024, Biden had 104,000 crossings.
Right.
So Trump's total border crossings for his 4 years was 3 to 5 million. Joe Biden's total border crossing right now sits at 10 million ? That's 10 million we know about.
Okay.
Again, they always got to bring up the Project 2025. They had like 2 or 3 different speakers, including the Keenan and Kel guy, come out with a huge Project 2025 book.
Yeah. Keenan Thompson.
Again, Trump said it was false and that it was even extreme ideas for him. So I'm going to go by that because until something really solidifies that, and until I see his name in the book that it was written and approved by Donald Trump, I got to go by what he says at this point, where he's saying, no. And if a right-wing think tank wants to say, well, yeah, we put this in front of him, okay, fine. But until I actually see it in action, I have a hard time with that one.
Sure.
Because
I agree on that.
The 20 platitudes he has on his website are his agenda, which is Agenda 47.
Right. But
which does not coincide with Project 2025 whatsoever.
But now this is the thing with Trump. We've seen how easy he is to, when you have a group of people that he likes or that like him and that boost him and all that type of stuff, yeah, he changes, he does the whole type of thing, absolutely. I think that's the biggest concern is that, yes, you're right. He hasn't signed off on it. He hasn't, endorsed it or any of these types of things. But this is all from people that are very, very close to him. A lot of them too religious extreme, because when Trump took office, he made a lot of I forgot what you call them, but a lot of groups,
like
basically. Like a lot of religious group,
like the evangelicalist stuff.
Yes, evangelicalist.
Yeah, they love him. They love him.
that, you have JD Vance, who's a supporter of it. Absolutely. You have, so I think that's the thing. He's saying no now, but I think eventually, if he does get back in office, absolutely they'll
Well,
get to, and yeah,
I think one of the things that stands out for me is him adding on RFK Jr. Um, because that would go Project 2025 would go against everything that man believes and everything his family stood for.
yeah, but the RFK Jr. hasn't proven to be much of a the last few. I mean,
He's a little
yeah,
kooky, but my God, the guy's pretty much correct on he wants to get rid of chronic child disease in this country. That's a great thing. I don't hear the current administration actually talking about helping children with chronic diseases.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's a great thing,
I
absolutely.
mean,
But like
not
that's
only are they
what
trying to make America great again, they're trying to make kids healthy again.
make the kids healthy. I mean, that's great and all, but that's one like thing. I'm just like the rest of it is just all. And plus, with how much RFK has come out against Trump and said he's this and that and blah blah blah, and all that. I mean, his wife's probably going to divorce him at this point.
She ain't gonna divorce him. Cheryl's staying. And plus, does not every politician on both sides always come out against a candidate that's of their
Sure,
same party at some point? Kamala
sure, but
called Biden a racist at a debate,
absolutely, absolutely,
and then
absolutely, and
became his
it's
VP. So, I mean,
absolutely. But
they do all
RFK, I
this
mean,
positive stuff.
RFK comes off as kind of like you said, the guy that you want to believe what he says and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
I
And well,
just
and while I can't stand his voice for the life of me, and I don't mean to make fun because he does actually have a voice condition, and that's whatever. But at the same time, I don't have to listen to him constantly, so I think it's good to add him on here. But yeah, so that was the Project 2025. I got like two things left here.
cool.
He also said Trump will ban abortion nationwide. That's 100% false because he already moved that decision to the states. States get to vote on an abortion bill. He's already
Right.
come out and said that he's for the three exceptions, which is rape, incest, and health of the mother.
Yeah.
And when asked in public if he would support a national ban on abortion, he said no. And lastly, this was another horrible, just disfigured quote. Trump promises bloodbath. He says if he loses, in his words, that he'll be a dictator on day one, in his own words.
Which
My God.
he did say, he
That's
did
fine.
say,
That's fine. Sure, to get some things done, you got to be a dictator. That's what executive orders are, basically. But the bloodbath is not referring to him losing the election, not saying if he loses, there will be a bloodbath. That is from a March 16th, 2024 interview where he was talking at the Auto Workers Union, saying that if this administration allows the auto industry to start shipping more jobs overseas and building more cars overseas, that it will be a bloodbath for the American auto worker.
yeah,
So as far as that part of that statement goes, that was wrong.
yeah,
Holy shit. That is all I got as far as Biden.
Biden. Yeah. Look, I agree
My
with
God.
my God. I agree with most. I mean, look, the man is he's senile. He is senile, and he needs to. He's at this point. He's Trump 2.0 with just throwing facts, random fake facts, out into the ethers, and
Sure. Seeing what sticks.
right. So yeah, I do agree on a lot for sure. Um, a couple things that I do think um, I can maybe defend a little bit is the
Sure.
inflation stuff. While again, the numbers he is saying and some of the facts and statistics he's using are not correct. Um, for example, he says that when he came into office, with inflation was already 9%. That's not true. It didn't become 9% until 17 months into his presidency. I think it was at 2% when Trump left office. Um, but additionally, right, it's kind of like Obama. It was not your typical 4-year presidency. It
Correct.
was 2022 the stock market opened back up. The world kind of opened back up, from being shut down and stuff. We had COVID, we had all these stimulus checks, all these types of things. So I do think, while yes, it's bad, the inflation is bad. It's definitely affecting all of this and stuff. I do think that, yeah, a big part of it is due to a lot of those kind of world event things that, had those things not happened, I don't know that we would be in the same position. Um, because Trump did do a pretty good job with getting our economy back on track, and then COVID, COVID hit. Like literally the worst possible thing you could imagine after our economy getting back on track comes for it. It's like, so yeah. So I think with that, he's done all right. I'm again, I think a lot of it is just comes from stuff of like those world events and those types of things, and stimulus checks and all that type of stuff. But nope, that's not the same. I was trying to bring up another fact check here. Let's see.
While you're looking it up, I just want, it's just crazy to me that there are no official, that there's no news organization streaming this and fact checking what people are saying.
So there are, yeah, I am going to bring up, so actually,
you got some? Perfect, okay.
CNN, yeah, this is what we're going to go through now. CNN actually did a fact check, which I'll be honest, I have been watching CNN a bit this year. I don't know if they've changed a bit.
I've caught some of their stuff, and I would agree they don't seem to be going as hard as they normally do on Trump for some reason.
They are becoming a bit more bipartisan. Yes. They hit them both equally. They both have there's which is very interesting, because CNN has not been, and I think CNN should be that network, should be the network where you've got everybody, and you've got they've been pretty hard on Biden and Kamala, so
yes, New York Times as well. They have been critical of Kamala, which is very weird, especially after the DNC. One headline I saw was "Joy is not a policy." Yeah.
Damn. All right. Good. See, this is this is good. I think we're starting to get back to a time where we need the news to not just suck one of these people's dicks, but to
exactly. And that's how all the news outlets should be. They should all be bipartisan. Really, right. There really should be no right.
Fox News still loves.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But all right, so let's go through some fact checks from CNN.
Yeah.
On the, and I could probably share this. I don't think I'll get in trouble for this. Share screen. Facts checking. All right, facts checking. Night 1 of the DNC. Biden on taxing billionaires.
Oh, all right. Let's see what we got.
During his speech, Biden asked the audience if they knew what the average billionaire in the United States pays in taxes. We have 1,000 billionaires in America. You know what the average tax rate they pay? 8.2%. Facts first from CNN. Biden used this figure in a way that was misleading. As in previous remarks, including his State of the Union in March, Biden didn't explain that the figure is the product of an alternative calculation from economists in his own administrations that factor in unrealized capital gains that are not treated as taxable income under federal law. There's nothing inherently wrong with the alternative calculation itself. The administration economists who came up with it explained in detail on the White House website in 2021. Biden, however, has tended to cite the figure without any context about what it is and what isn't, leaving open the impression that he was talking about what these billionaires pay under current law. Yes. So what do billionaires actually pay under current law? The answer is not publicly known, but experts say it's clearly more than 8%. Yes, which I would say, Biden's numbers are way too low. So there's fact check number 1. Biden over-exaggerating on the...
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm 100% shocked that this is really CNN. Let me
this is right there, CNN politics right there. Man, this is CNN.
I swear to God, this feels like a Fox News fact check already.
Biden on carbon emissions. Speaking about his achievements on climate, Biden said his agenda made possible cutting carbon emissions in half by 2030. Independent analysis shows the U.S. is off track to meet an ambitious goal. Biden said early in his administration of slashing U.S. carbon emissions in half, even with his climate law. Biden's climate target of cutting emissions 50 to 52% below 2005 levels, 2005 was the historical peak, by 2030 was always going to be a tough goal to achieve. When the Inflation Reduction Act passed in 2022, analysis suggested it would get the U.S. most of the way towards its goal, about 40% reduction. The thinking was that regulations from agencies like Environmental Protection Agency would help make up for the rest of the goal. But a recent analysis from a nonpartisan Rhodium group found that the U.S. isn't on track to hit Biden's goal of slashing U.S. emissions by 2030. Rhodium estimates the U.S. is currently on track to reduce emissions anywhere from 32 to 43% by that. Okay, even then,
It's a chunk.
that's a large chunk. If he gets to 40%, you're 10% off. But still, you shouldn't be up there touting we did it.
Yes, when we're not even close yet.
Exactly. One big impediment in Biden's goal is the fact that the EPA's marquee climate rules regulating emissions from vehicles and power plants are facing an onslaught of legal challenges and a skeptical U.S. Supreme Court. And even a bigger question mark is the 2024 election, whether Biden will be replaced by another Democrat with similar ambitions, or former President Trump was vowed to reverse it. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be interesting, because I'm fine with the admission. It's going to take time. We don't need to be fucking exaggerating the numbers, but I don't think we should get rid of it either.
Sure.
Now, I think that's something where Trump should talk to Elon and get the whole climate thing explained a little bit more to him.
Yeah.
Let's see. Biden's claim about removing lead pipes from schools and homes. Biden speaking about his bipartisan infrastructure law. We're removing every lead pipe from schools and homes so every child can drink clean water. Facts first. This claim needs context. While the administration is spending $15 billion on working on federal regulations to remove all lead pipes from public drinking water systems over a decade, they may not be able to replace all pipes and service lines on private properties. Lead drinking pipes can be found all over the country. Some national estimates say the total number of lead service lines is around 9.2 million. Lead in drinking water is a major health concern for babies and young children, and Biden has made eradicating it a major priority. The Biden EPA proposed a major rule that, if finalized, would compel water utilities to gradually get rid of 100% of the lead pipes and service lines over 10 years. This will cost utilities. EPA estimates this effort will cost utilities $20 billion to $30 billion over that decade. $15 billion would be covered by the bipartisan infrastructure laws. Okay, so that's nice. There's an additional $11.7 billion available through the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund that could be used for lead removal as well. Cities with lead pipes, including New Orleans, are currently trying to locate all of their lead pipes. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, and this isn't terrible. Again, it's kind of like the solar, thing. We're advancing. We're moving on. We're getting rid of old harmful shit and moving into more safer and more efficient and stuff.
I guess as we get there, I would just like to know what percent are we at of this pipe-free plan? Because
Well,
New Orleans can't find all their pipes. I
Right.
imagine everybody else is having a really easy time.
That's what a statement. That might be one of my favorite. New Orleans is still looking to locate all of theirs. Like,
Yeah.
what? You lost some? Where did you
Yeah.
Uh,
if we got 9 million pipes countrywide, that's...
Well, okay, again, that's another thing where, look, good idea and stuff, but this is going to take time, and this is going to,
Yes.
it's going to have to be allowed by other presidencies
Yes.
to grow and keep going, because, again, like the solar thing started back in, like, 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're 10 years later, now we're at the point where now they're saying, okay, in 10 years, everything will be solar. 10 years ago, they were saying everything would be solar by now.
Sure.
But now it's definitely at a place now where it's 10 years is a lot more reachable now, because now you have state incentives, you have government incentives. The government's literally giving solar out for free, and stuff. So let's see. Biden's claim about trade ignores widening deficit under his presidency. Here we go. In his speech, Biden said, we used to import products and export jobs. Now we export American products. and create American jobs right here in America. This claim is misleading.
Jesus. I feel like we're going through a Trump fact check right now. This is how this is reading. This is usually what this guy has to deal with every time he makes a speech. But boy, when the shoe's on the other foot, man, it's quite funny.
This is literally every claim has either been this quote contains misery or this is not true.
It's just not true.
Oh, CNN, you're giving me a good laugh this morning. All right. This claim is misleading. So far this year, the United States has imported more goods than it has exported, leading to a seasonally adjusted trade deficit of more than $567 billion, according to figures from the U.S. Census Bureau. In fact, the goods trade deficit has widened since Biden took office. In 2020, the nation's goods trade deficit was $901 billion. After Biden's first year in office, it increased to over $1 trillion and has stayed above the threshold every subsequent year. Son of a bitch, Biden!
Bidenomics, everybody. Bidenomics.
Bidenomics. The dollar's strength has played a role in widening the goods trade deficit, making it more expensive for other countries to buy U.S.-produced goods, and at the same time cheaper for Americans to buy goods abroad. Oh, Biden. I need a bite of my donut after that.
I hope we can get just one where they're like, yeah, he was right on this.
Yeah, he did it.
He got
2 thumbs up, Biden.
Because right now we're 0 for 4.
You got Jill in the back just going, You're doing great, honey. You're doing great. You're gonna get one, just patting his back. Oh God. Biden on building electric vehicle charging stations. Speaking about his administration's goal to create more clean energy jobs, Biden said IBEW workers were at work installing 500,000 charging stations all across America to power electric vehicles. Facts first. This is more of a promise than a fact, but even so, it needs context.
Jesus.
For a few reasons, it's questionable whether the Biden administration will be able to meet its goal of installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations on the U.S. roads. Installing 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations has long been one of Biden's goals. The president initially proposed Congress spend $15 billion to make it a reality, but just half of that, $7.5, passed as part of the 2001 bipartisan infrastructure law. The latest data from the Department of Energy shows the United States is still a long way from that goal. There are currently more than 180,000 electric vehicle charging ports operating at over 66,000 stations around the U.S. Though the administration has said that could be backfiled by private investment, that change in funding could hinder the administration's ability to meet the goal. The federal government has spent the last few years sending money to states. States can now unlock more than $900 million in funding for fiscal years 2022 and 2023, which the administration estimated will help build chargers across approximately 53,000 miles of U.S. highways. Basically, it's been slow going. States are still in the process of selecting companies to actually build the charging stations, meaning it could still take months or years to fully see the impact of the money around the nation. Okay, great, Biden. Great. Biden on number of people with health insurance.
Oh, no, don't tell me this was not good either.
Biden touted his achievements in expanding health insurance coverage to more Americans. More Americans have health insurance today than ever before in American history, he said at the Democratic National Convention. Biden's claim is outdated. Period. That's right.
Jesus.
I didn't smoke enough weed before doing this podcast.
I guess not, man.
While it's true that health insurance coverage hit a record high last year, fewer people were insured in the first quarter of this year than in the spring of last year, in large part because a federal law that prevented states from winnowing their Medicaid rolls lapsed last year.
No.
Some 130 million Americans had public health insurance coverage, such as Medicare or Medicaid, in the first quarter of this year. That's down from nearly 138 million people in the second quarter of last year. At the same time, the number of uninsured Americans rose to 27.1 million in the first quarter of this year, up from 23.7 million in the spring of 2023. So, I mean, it's not terrible, but still, again, like, it's not the best of all ever before in American history. Like, but not terrible. Okay, so 8 million people lost insurance or something.
Here we go. This is a big one. This is for
Biden,
all you ladies out there.
oh, you ladies. Biden said Monday that Trump will do everything to ban abortion nationwide. Oh, he will. Biden is making a prediction that we cannot definitively fact check, but the claim does not reflect Trump's most recent comments on abortion and needs context. Jesus Christ. While Trump regularly boasts that he played a key role in getting the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade and guaranteed abortion rights across the country, Trump says it should be up to the states to decide how and when to restrict abortion. Polls show that the majority of Americans are against a federal abortion law. Throughout most of his recent campaign, Donald Trump has repeatedly ducked direct questions about his support for a federal ban on abortions, but he said in April that he would not sign a national abortion ban if elected to the White House again. That statement reversed what he said in 2016 when he was first running for presidency and was the opposite of statements he made throughout his time in office. Some scholars are concerned that the conservative advisors for Trump have encouraged him to ban abortions by enforcing the 1973 Comstock Act, a method that could essentially create a federal ban without Trump needing to sign any legislation to do it. Interesting. That's believable. The Victorian-era anti-vice law that is still on the books is not currently enforced. The law bans the mailing of obscene materials used to produce an abortion. Some scholars believe Trump could use the Justice Department to enforce a ban that would not just restrict people from sending the medication currently used in the majority of abortions through the mail, but would ban any kind of materials used to produce any kind of abortion. Trump has not officially endorsed the enforcement of the Comstock Act, but it is a strategy some of his advisors have outlined as an option for Trump to restrict abortions nationwide.
All right. Well, that'll be something that we need to pay attention to very close.
Yes. That is very interesting. Again, that's kind of, like that thing they said where, Trump will, if he really wants to, he will find a way to do it, whether it's some, what do you call it? Executive action or that type of thing. California. Oh, this was okay. So this was now we're done with Biden. They went into the rest of the night, but so far, Biden had a lot. He messed up on.
Yeah, he had a rough time.
He had a rough night. It was not the best night for Biden. But yeah, I mean, I think between him and Kamala, they were probably the weakest parts, just based off Biden, because he's Biden, and because those fact checks and that type of stuff is look, it's not acceptable with Trump, it's not acceptable with Biden. So that is not good, not good. So that's night one of the DNC. Any final thoughts on night one of the DNC?
Other than my head hurting, no. From all of this, my God.
From the fact checks.
Yeah, like it's so insane. It is.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. Again, like some not terrible things there, like
No, not ones that were too over exaggerated. But
let's get our facts straight. Let's tell the American people the actual truth and stuff, because whether it's Biden being a little off or saying these types of things or not giving context, or Trump just saying the most random shit of all time. Let me tell you, my crowd sizes, I was told, Stevie Wonder told me it was the biggest crowd he'd ever seen. All right. And he's blind. He couldn't even see it, but he heard it. He knew that was the biggest crowd he'd ever seen. But let's talk about night 2 of the Democratic National
yeah.
Convention. Night two had a focus on 2025 Trump and all that type of stuff. Obviously,
Yep.
calling out a lot of the things outlined in 2025, a lot of the extremities and stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, let's see here. Where is the fact check? Okay. Bernie Sanders came out night 2.
Yes, to talk about how bad billionaires are before being followed by one.
Yes, yes, that is true. I feel bad.
Yeah, I don't know who organized that or who set up that kind of scheduling, but that guy could
Yeah,
have been like 2 talkers later or like 3 before him. Before you
they
start bashing the billionaires, maybe don't send one out.
Yeah, they screwed Sanders on on that because Sanders is the most anti-billionaire person. He's like,
Yes.
okay, so let's do just pretty. Night 2 is pretty basic. Not a lot really happened and stuff, but let's do some fact checks on this 2025 Project 2025.
All right, let's see what CNN's got to say.
All right. Democratic National Convention speakers have invoked Project 2025, saying or hinting that this project is former President Donald Trump's own agenda. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont referred to Trump's Project 2025. State Rep Malcolm Kenyatta of Pennsylvania used the same phrase, and Senator Gary Peters of Michigan, talking about Trump and running mate Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio, referred to their Project 2025 agenda. Here's some context about the project, Trump's links to it, and what Trump has said about it. Project 2025 has been led by the Heritage Foundation, a prominent conservative think tank working in collaboration with dozens of other conservative organizations. Their efforts, which began in 2022, resulted in a detailed 920-page document called Mandate for Leadership, the Conservative Promise, that lays out hundreds of clear and concrete policy recommendations for White House officials, for White House offices, cabinet departments, Congress, and agencies and abroad. The document proposes a variety of right-wing policy changes in a variety of policy areas, from immigration to healthcare to agriculture to education, plus a major overhaul of the executive branch that would significantly increase presidential power. The document was published in April 2023 when Trump was a heavy favorite to win the party nomination, but nearly a year before he had actually secured it. The document bills itself as an attempt to help the next conservative president, whoever he or she may be, hit the ground running if and when they are inaugurated in 2025. Project 2025 has emphasized that it is not, or Trump's links to it, has emphasized it is not affiliated with former President Trump. Trump claimed in July that I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who is behind it. CNN cannot definitively fact-check what Trump might or might not know, but it's clear that Trump has extensive connections to Project 2025. A large number of people who served in Trump's administration were involved in crafting. CNN reported in July that at least 140 people who worked on the Trump administration had a hand in the project, including more than half of the people listed as authors, editors, and contributors to the policy document. For example, 6 of Trump's former cabinet secretaries played a role in the project. So did Tom Homan, the acting immigration and customs enforcement chief early in the Trump administration, who Trump has recently said he plans to make part of his second Trump administration.
Yes.
Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance wrote the foreword for a forthcoming book by a leader of Project 2025. Vance spokesperson told Axios in July that the foreword has nothing to do with Project 2025, and Vance has previously said that he has no involvement, and has said plenty of disagreements with what they are calling for. Trump's stance on Project 2025 and its proposals. It's not clear how much of the extensive Project 2025 policy document Trump supports and how much he rejects. Trump has said that some of the document is absolutely ridiculous and abysmal, and he has also said many of the points are fine. He's not specified which proposals he rejects and which he finds acceptable. Russell Vought, the Trump-era Office of Management and Budget Director, who is one of the former Trump administration officials involved in Project 2025, said last month in a hidden camera video secretly recorded by British journalism organization, "I see what he's doing is just very, very conscious distancing himself from a brand. It's interesting. He's in fact not even opposing himself in a particular policy. CNN reported in July, Project 2025 includes many policy priorities that are aligned with those of the former president, especially as they relate to cracking down on immigration and purging the federal bureaucracy by making it easier to dismiss civil servants and career officials. But Project 2025 has lately become a lightning rod for other ideas Trump hasn't explicitly backed, including a ban on pornography and the inclusion of the morning after pill and men's contraceptives from coverage mandated under the Affordable Care Act. Spokesperson for the Trump campaign told CNN in August, Trump's campaign made it clear that the only President Trump in the campaign and not any organization or former staff represent policies for the second term. Interesting.
A lot of stuff there, yes. Because, like it says, he doesn't make, as he says, stuff is abysmal and ridiculous, but
Right.
then says some points are okay.
Which ones? You got to be clear.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. I would hope he's mostly talking about the immigration, since that's a big thing for him, because I know that is a point to Project 25 is to do like a mass deportation like he's wanting.
Yeah.
So I hope, my hope would be is giving him the benefit of the doubt that's the part that he supports, and the majority of the rest of it is all hogwash and garbage, because a lot of that shit is really true. That stuff I wouldn't even support. Most normal people wouldn't.
I agree. And I would hope, but at the same time, like I said, Trump has a lot of influence in his era, especially in politics and stuff. And so I can very much see, like, especially if these evangelical, people, they're very convincing, with him and stuff. And he does like their support. He likes their votes and stuff. So I'm just curious as to, like, even though he says now he thinks some of them are abysmal, he might be convinced on a few of those things. I can see them getting him on, like, some porn shit or some other stuff. Like,
I mean, would that be the worst thing in the world?
I like my porn, Bob.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I like porn too, but I mean, when you get down to the nitty gritty of it,
now you're fucking with my porn. You can take every right away, man, but when you come from my porn, motherfuckers, that I'll go to the Capitol for that.
Make sure you edit that before we have FBI agents coming to our houses. Listen to the shitty podcast you guys put out on politics, and we heard you talking about coming to the Capitol. What was that about?
Just give me my porn, man. That's all I want.
I don't need to be on any more lists than I'm already on.
I will be demanding in Nancy Pelosi's office that you give me my porn. Strip for me now. No, nobody wants to see that. All right, I'm trying to find the night 3 recap for.
Maybe they were tired of all this fact checking and didn't even do night 3.
All I see is night 4. With,
they just skipped it.
Kamala.
Wait, that's interesting, because wasn't night 3 Michelle and Barack?
Yeah, maybe they were just that good. We don't need to fact check.
They were either that good or you can't touch them.
They just and Oprah, of course, Oprah.
Oh yes, the other billionaire. That's acceptable. She's another one because she's a Democrat, so it's okay.
We had our friend Oprah. She gave everyone in the audience a car.
Oh, well then Kamala's definitely winning.
Let's see here. Let me see. Fact. But yes, night 3 was the Obamas, which Michelle got on my nerves a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. She had some good points and stuff, but also I think she was the one that took it a little too far with the Trump stuff. And I was like, refocus here. We don't need to be. We already know you guys don't like him and disagree with him and all of these types of things. So yeah, that she was all right, but Obama was phenomenal in my opinion. This is, I miss having a presidential speaker like that, because at least to me, he spoke to everybody. He spoke to the American people. He didn't spoke to the Democrats or to the, he brought up how both sides over the past 8 years and stuff have been bad. Have not done a good job of representing the people, and the people come first. Uh, so yeah, and he basically called on his party to do better. What did I do here? Okay. Oh no.
Fact checking night 3 of the Democratic National Convention. CNN Fact First.
Okay, I guess I made a mistake. Whoops. My bad. Okay, hold on.
You pulled up the fact checking video from night 3.
No. I for some reason I accidentally took the tab and made a whole new window. So
There you go.
that.
Democrats, ladies and gentlemen, Democrats can't do nothing right.
Let's see. Window. We have to go here.
Can't open tabs properly, but wants us to elect them as the presidents of the United States. Go figure. Does Kamala know how to open tabs? I hope so.
At this point, let's. Okay. There we go.
There we go.
Oh no, I need night 3.
God.
Oh no. I don't even know what's happening.
Oh my God, the wheels are falling off here.
Oh, God. Okay, I can't type either. Motherfucker. All right, here we go. Fact checking night 3. Here we go. Oh my. That's a big 2025.
There's this big 2025 book that everybody brought out. All right, so we're back on the, because this is night 3 again. We're on 2025. Okay.
Yes, we're still. Colorado governor makes false claim about Project 2025.
Okay. Jesus.
Let's see. Colorado Governor Jared Polis joined other speakers at the Democratic National Convention on Wednesday in attacking Project 2025, an effort by dozens of conservative organizations led by the Heritage Way, blah, blah, blah. We went through all that. After holding up what he said was a copy of the 920-page Project 2025 policy document, which is called Mandate for Leadership, Polis said at one point, page 451 says the only legitimate family is a married mother and father where only the father works. Facts first. Polis' claim is false, though the Project 2025 policy document argues for the importance of the nuclear family, which that's a whole other conversation, nuclear family. Family made up of a married mother and father. It does not say that this is the only legitimate family, and it certainly does not say that a family with a working mother is illegitimate. Polis' inaccurate claim echoes an online meme that was debunked last month by USA Today and others. Mary Vaught, vice president of strategic communications for Heritage Foundation, told CNN in a message on Wednesday night, as a working mother myself, I know this claim is simply a lie. The mandate for leadership says nothing about which families are legitimate. What does page 451 actually say?
Oh, cool.
It is true that 2025 expresses a preference for a certain type of family, the married nuclear family with a mother and father. On the page, Polis mentioned, the document asserts that the family is comprised of a married mother, father, and their children are the foundation of a well-ordered nation and healthy society, that working fathers are essential to the well-being and development of their children, and that homes with non-related boyfriends present are among the most dangerous place for a child to be.
Maybe.
The same page of the document criticizes the Biden administration Department of Health and Human Services for supposedly focusing on LGBTQ plus equity, subsidizing single motherhood, disincentivizing work, and penalizing marriage. And it says these policies should be repealed and replaced by policies that support the formation of stable married nuclear families. Interesting.
I mean, to an extent with that, I would probably agree. A two-parent home made up of any two parents, I think, is better than a single-parent home.
Yes, now that I agree with. I think
like in that context of what it's saying, in that aspect, I guess I would agree on that point. And then the rest of that just sounds just really kooky to me.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole other thing with the nuclear family definition of conservatives and Christians have both come up that nuclear family means man, woman,
Sure.
children. Which, if we're being honest, that doesn't even go back to ancient times. I mean, you had a lot of polygamy. You had many wives, many people. You
Sure.
had all these. So, the idea of nuclear family, man, woman, child, is actually pretty recent, within the last 200 years.
Yes.
That's really come into play. So that is not like some sort of foundation for society, and it never has been. Now, yeah, I agree with you.
Would you argue that it's
Parents,
a foundation
parents,
for a modern society, though?
I don't think it has to be. Like I said, man, woman, child. I think, like you said, parents, two parents, as long as they
Yeah.
have two loving parents. And I don't think, I don't believe that you need kids to be some contributing factor to society.
No, I don't think so as well. But again, like I said, I do agree with a two-parent home. Um,
Yeah, for the most part, yeah,
yeah,
I do.
doesn't
Yeah.
have to be just man and wife, whatever you want it to be, but it usually is better for a kid growing up to see two loving parents that are,
Yes,
married, love each other, committed. That helps them develop into, not psychopathic people who end up beating their spouses later on in life.
exactly. And even the thing like with now, and that's the other thing. Okay, so it says that non-related boyfriends are a danger. Yes, of course they can be. Obviously, as we've ever seen.
Sure.
At the same time, that could be it could be a good thing. It could be that father's only or that kid's only male father figure in their life that is a good influence and that type of thing. So it's just
Yeah.
it's kind of an interesting thing there. But good old Clinton,
Oh, Billy boy.
good old Bill came out to say a few things. Clinton's claim about Democrats being responsible for 50 million jobs created since 1989. Former President Bill Clinton highlighted the jobs created in the U.S. since the end of the Cold War in 1989, noting that 51 million jobs added, 50 million of those were created during Democratic administrations. Since the end of the Cold War in 1989, America has created about 51 million new jobs. I swear, I checked this 3 times. Even I couldn't believe it. What's the score? Democrats 50, Republicans 1, he said during his remarks at the Democratic National Committee. Facts first. Clinton's claim is true, although aspects such as timing, rounding, and large-scale national crisis influence the math. First, it depends on when the clock starts. From January 1989 through July 2024, the U.S. economy added a net of 51.825 million jobs, according to the Bureau of Labor. In tabulating the monthly job totals and starting in February for the respective presidential administrations, there were 50 million jobs added during Democratic administrations and 1 million jobs during Republican administrations. The totals vary slightly if the presidential terms are started in January, 49 point something million for Democratic and 1.84 for Republican. However, the presidential terms don't start and end in a vacuum, and economic cycles can carry over regardless of party. Additionally, the ups and downs of the labor market and the broader economy are influenced by factors beyond a single president. Clinton's data point also leaves out some very important externalities: the dot-com bubble, the 9/11, the Great Recession, and COVID-19 pandemic. Job losses, which were sometimes massive, were prevalent during those national crises and respective downturns. So I guess for the most part, right, but kind of not really. And CNN didn't
Yeah,
even address any of
it's like he's right, but there's a lot of factors that go into that.
it. Right.
And I believe, if I'm correct, just recently, this administration just had to walk back almost a million jobs that they reported.
Oh,
They
really?
were they were off on the jobs numbers. Yes, by a million, by almost a million, like 800,000 to a million for like the month or something
Okay.
for the year, something like that. I could probably look it up here while I'm talking.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Alrighty, here we go. First of all, we were incorrect. My bad, people. Obama was on night 2, and we
Oh
somehow
boy.
missed it. But let's talk about our good pal, Obama.
Yes.
Okay. Is this the right thing? That is not the right thing. Oops. Wrong button. Screen. Duh. All right. Barack Obama began his address by praising outgoing President Joe Biden. I'm proud to call him my president. Biden is prouder to call him my friend. Obama attacked Harris's opponent, for President Donald Trump with zingers, once nailing Trump for a weird obsession with crowd sizes, which also involved a hand gesture. That was pretty good. He offered a few notes that rhymed with his career-making 2004 keynote address at the Democratic Convention in Boston, in which he argued against the idea that there is a blue America and a red America. Now, let's fact check. Under Joe Biden, the U.S. produced 15 million jobs, higher wages, and lower health care costs. Half true. All right. He's right about jobs. The U.S. has added 15.8 million jobs since January, when Biden was sworn in, though some of those represented the workforce return of workers the pandemic had sidelined. Wages are up under Biden without factoring in inflation, but for his full tenure, wages have trailed inflation, which hit a 4-decade high under Biden. Nevertheless, wages have outpaced inflation over the past 2 years and the past year compared with before the pandemic. Okay.
All right. While you're right there, I got this pulled up just to touch on this because this will tie into the jobs there. So,
yeah.
Official reports stating U.S. gained nearly 818,000 jobs less than originally thought stuns the internet. But don't worry, Kamala will fix it on day one. A new economic report revealing that the U.S. gained 818,000 jobs less than was initially thought gobsmacked social media users on Wednesday, as the Bureau of Labor Statistics got a more accurate reading of how many jobs were created in the country this year, uncovering that 800,000 jobs that were reportedly created in March never actually existed. From the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 818,000 jobs that the Biden-Harris House claimed they created do not exist, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Jesus.
Crazy.
Well, yeah, that's not good.
No.
I mean, yeah, it's looking like, okay, he's just touting for his friend there. But for the most part, it looks like that was kind of the farthest he went.
Yes.
As far as that, because like they said, a lot of it was him basically going and compelling the Democrats to stop with this whole my way or the highway type thing.
Yes.
And same with Republicans need to do the same thing, but that again, like somebody within their party needs to address that, just like Obama did within his.
Exactly.
Because it hinders. At the end of the day, it hurts the American people. That's the biggest issue, and it's hard for us to believe or vote for any of these candidates and believe that they care about us when, in the end, the proof is in the pudding. So I think that was really nice to see his kind of call back to that and pushing for. And I think he even kind of mentioned that even if Trump is elected again, it's not the end of the world. It's not, and we need to listen and push through and that type of thing. We need to get rid of all the kind of extremist rhetoric.
Absolutely.
But here's another fact check. Taxes. Kamala, in a DNC video that night, said Trump wants to impose what is in effect a national sales tax on everyday products and basic necessities that we import from other countries. It would cost a typical family almost $4,000 extra a year. Trump has said that he would propose a 10% tariff on all non-domestic goods sold in the U.S. Although tariffs are levied separately from taxes, economists say that much of their impact would be passed along to consumers, making them analogous to a tax. The video's figure about how much it will cost families is higher than current estimates. The American Action Forum, a center-right think tank, has projected additional costs per household of close to $2,500, up to $2,500 annually.
Mm-hmm.
The Peterson Institution of International Economics, another Washington, D.C. based think tank, projected that such tariffs would cost a middle income household about 1,700 extra each year. Um, which, yeah, that is, if you're going to be, trying to help inflation, that is one of my issues with Trump. All of these tariffs and stuff aren't going to help. So I get what he's trying to do. I think it's a power tactic in trying to get his quote unquote respect back when he's in office and stuff, but that does not help the economy or the American people with inflation right now.
I would ask, though, when he did this before in his first 4 years, again, we were better off as far as economy-wise, prices being down. So if this is something that can, because we'd be getting money from them to import their goods, I guess that's where I get confused at.
Let's see.
Because I'm sure there's a cost somewhere. Because according to Trump, that happens to us all the time, where we're paying countries exorbitant amounts of money to do whatever the hell we're doing with them.
Yeah.
So that's where the tariffs are a little bit outside of my realm, so I don't know 100%.
Yeah, I had it explained to me like a couple weeks ago by somebody who like really understands tariffs, and they're telling me like, yeah, a lot of people don't understand the tariff thing and how actually it does affect a lot of things. Let's see. I'm trying to find some more information on this tariff stuff, but
Sure.
leave that for a little bit later. But okay, so yeah, that was Obama. Basically, got through 3 nights of the DNC. Tim Walz too. Also, we can talk a little bit Tim Walz, and then we'll get on to Kamala. But so Tim Walz really did impress me. I had already been doing a little bit of research on Tim Walz and stuff. He does have some harder leaning like progressive policies and things
Sure.
that he personally believes in. But what I've noticed is he's pretty good at again, kind of what Obama was saying, knowing that not everybody agrees with him, and he's got to make it work for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was the governor during Trump's 4 years,
Yes.
and stuff, and he was well liked because he was able to do things bipartisanly for the most part. Even though there was a big disagreement on COVID and certain things there. But yeah, I think for the most part, I thought his speech was right next to Obama's.
Sure.
By the end of it, I found myself saying, I'm voting for Kamala for this guy. Like, this guy should be running for president with that speech.
Probably, yes.
I think he came up very relatable to the American people. You talk about it again. Talk about a guy you want to have a beer with. Just kind of gives that kind of fun, relatable. At the same time, serious about what he does, and seems like he cares. He's got his his kids and all, their family man. Another thing I thought was interesting that they highlight, he's a gun person.
Yeah.
He likes his Second Amendment gun rights and stuff, but there needs to be regulations and some types of things brought on. He fought for the universal background checks and those types of things. So yeah, I think there's an appeal to him more so than her. I think to both sides.
Okay.
And so I thought he did a great job, kind of talking about everything, talking about how he understands America, the small town he grew up in. It doesn't matter, what your neighbors believe or think or, whatever, what party. We all look out for each other and all this other type of stuff. So definitely said a lot of the right stuff, at least in my opinion.
He did. I'm gonna put something in the chat here.
I got it.
I'm only interested in the video. I don't care what the person, because you're talking about Tim Walz, so I want to put this out here.
Mm-hmm.
because this is where I get a little concerned.
Okay.
Again, I don't care what the person's opinion is on it. I just care about the video itself
Yeah, we're gonna
and
watch
what
the
he's
video
talking
here.
about. Yeah,
Let's
just the
see.
video. I don't need anybody else's opinion.
Let me share the screen. All right. Okay, Timmy, what do you got to say?
Guaranteed of free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy. I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee of free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy. I think we need to push back on
That's a
this.
little
There's
troubling
no
for me.
guarantee of
And that's all he's saying, basically. And that was an interview he recently gave. And I get what he's saying in regards to hate speech and that, but who determines what that is?
I'm sorry, so I couldn't shut him up.
No,
I
that's
stopped
okay.
it on the screen, but he was still going in my ear.
Good. Hopefully that plays in your head forever. But no. So I can agree with you that his speech at the DNC was very good, and he is a very appealing guy.
Right.
But when I hear any politician saying that there is no guarantee to free speech, even when it comes to hate speech or speech you don't like, that makes me
Well,
that gives me a little pushes me back a little bit because
if we're
now
being
we're getting into
honest,
censorship.
he's not wrong, and that's always been the case throughout. Like, here's the thing: yes, you can take that one part, of the statement, and we don't have the guarantee and all that. But like when you really break it down and look at it, he's not lying. He's not. We don't. Okay, you get a job, right? If you're working for a company or whatever, and you go and tweet out, whatever, I hate this company or blah blah blah, or they're doing blah whatever, right?
Mhm.
And they fire you. You know, you've given up your right to free speech in a sense when you go work for that company, right? You can't say certain things about that company. You can't.
Well, you
Or you'll
can.
lose your job. Sure,
Sure.
you can, but there are consequences.
Sure.
And I think that's what he's saying is, sure, you can do those. Like, okay, yeah, we're never going to be. I don't
Well,
think anybody is saying like we're never going to be the country that is like you can't even say it. Don't even say it.
well,
Like
I would argue we sort of are at this point, aren't we? There's
I
plenty of
don't think
people
so.
that'll tell
No,
you that you can't say certain
you
words, that
can,
you
sure you
can't say
can,
certain things that are bad or that'll hurt
but that's what
somebody's
I'm saying.
feelings.
I don't think we'll ever get to the point of again, like you can't say it. You say it, or like whatever, you're banned from the country. Whether no, you'll always be allowed to say. But there are consequences to the things you say, and there are
Well,
consequences
when
to
I look
certain things.
at it, when I hear that, I'm more or less hearing, hate speech against political people or speech that political people don't like. Because yeah, anybody could say anything and get fired from a job. That's fine. I don't think he's really talking about that. And if he is, that's silly because everybody
Right.
understands that. But when he says there's no guarantee to free speech, followed
Well,
by hate
there's
speech and that, there
and
is a
misinformation.
guarantee of
Yeah,
free speech. There's
that's
a
the thing. Yeah,
guarantee to both of those. You can
there's
have
no guarantee.
misinformation. Yeah, there is. That's what free
There's no
speech is.
guarantee with free. You're free to say whatever you want and stuff. But
And
again,
it could be hateful and
there's
it could be misinformation. It's not up to the government to tell you what is true and what is people are adults. That's for us to figure out on our own. I don't need Daddy Tim to come tell me that what this guy or somebody said is hate speech or misinformation because who determines that? Who determines that?
right. Well, look again.
And when
I
you
think
give the government that type of power, that's not good. I don't think it's good at all.
that would be something I would I would love to hear him go deeper on and stuff because it's just kind of like a 1 sense clip and
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Now,
Like
again, this is a
yeah
5 second clip of what he's saying.
yeah
So again,
because I would assume he's probably coming at it from like I said where I'm saying where it's like yes you have these rights and stuff, but again there are consequences. You have the right to again spread misinformation, say hate speech or do these type of things, but that doesn't. But you're not all of a sudden protected from any consequences because it's free speech. You can still get banned off Twitter. You can still these type of little things like that. Not saying you're going to get arrested or any of that
sure,
type of
but
stuff.
that doesn't mean
There
though
are
that the guarantee of that is lost.
no the guarantee of like yes you can say
Yes.
it, but
So
but you
that's
can't you
so I
can't
would say
say it
that that's just a
without you can't say it without without expecting like I said you can just say anything you want, nothing's going to happen. If I say, again, kind of, even though I made a joke, right? If I say I'm going to go to the Capitol, like, even if it's a joke, you still have to. There's still like a whole thing with it. So, yeah, I
I think it just starts on a slippery slope when you start deciding on when political people start deciding on what is okay and what is not okay.
well, again, I think it's fine if it's said. I don't have the issue with it being said, but like again, if you're out there spreading a bunch of misinformation and just saying a bunch of things that aren't true, whether it's about Trump or Kamala or whatever, yeah, your consequences. You're gonna get fact checked. You're gonna be looked at as a liar. You may get your social media banned. You may
Yeah,
have
but
to.
but how about what if this goes as far as like how it is right now in the UK? If anybody on there on social media tweets or goes on Facebook and says anything disparaging about the immigrant crisis they have going on, they're jailing people.
Yeah, that's insane. But also that's the UK. We left them for a reason. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, when I hear stuff like that, that raises a red flag.
but that doesn't surprise me because again, that's like the UK has always been very strict and stuff, and we're a free country, and so
So are
again,
they.
you have the. But that's what I'm saying too, and I don't think
They have freedom of speech there too, though.
to a certain extent, not like us, not even like us. They don't have a constitution like we do and stuff that is like gives you these certain types of you can't talk about the royals without getting in trouble. You can't talk about different types of things. Um, Whereas like here you can, but again, like I said, the just because it's free speech doesn't mean you're automatically protected from any consequence or anything. And I think that's what he's trying to say. Like, yeah, it's free speech. It doesn't mean you're going to get away with it, like
Sure.
spreading a bunch of misinformation and all that, and all that. Yeah,
And I think that's something to keep on him about. I think somebody should double down and ask him about that at
to
his
explain
debate
more.
or his,
Yeah,
yeah, because that is to me that's a slippery slope. Because if you're saying that, then who determines what is hate speech and what is misinformation?
right, exactly.
And I'd say the same thing if Trump or anybody on the Republican side made a quote like that or a comment like that as well. Because again, I wouldn't want Donald Trump governing what I say or what I can and can't say or what I.
Well, and it comes down to again, like, where do we draw the line? That because he has said we should jail people that burn the American flag and do all that.
He said that today? Yes, absolutely.
What's the free speech on that? So even that, there's a lot of deeper questions I think with free speech. Than we just like to tout it a lot. And sorry to bring up superheroes and Marvel, but I kind of agree with the line from Endgame when Iron Man Downey Jr. comes back from watching everybody he loves get murdered in front of him and disappear. And he's like, we wanted to protect the world and all that, even if it meant giving up a few of our precious little freedoms.
Yeah, I don't agree with that 100%. We already had that with 9/11, and look what that cost us. That cost us all of our privacy.
And again, I think that's very extreme within the context
TSA
of the
that
movie.
We still have at airports isn't catching anybody.
Right.
Haven't caught anybody. Haven't caught one terrorist with one bomb sentence.
And that is, and I agree, and I think again that is an extreme, like within the terms of the movie and what was happening and stuff like that. Yeah. But I do think, like, for a lot of we say free speech a lot of stuff. We don't really think about how deep that goes. Like I said, what does that mean for? So we have people in this country that serve our country and do all these types of things, fight for our country and all that, and they do that for that right. So somebody can go burn that flag if they want to.
Exactly. And so somebody could say that, whatever they want, that, Biden is a body double.
Right.
So
exactly.
What you're saying, though, is that because I just said misinformation, that I should have a consequence for that?
I'm not saying you should, but you probably will. And I don't think you should be arrested. You shouldn't be jailed. You should still be. But like I said, I don't even come up with those consequences because at the end of the day, right, if you're touting that on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever, they have their own policies and their own things that terms and conditions and agreements and stuff that they'll.
But that doesn't change the fact, though, that it's just anytime a politician says there's no guarantee on something that is guaranteed, which misinformation and hate speech is both guaranteed under the First Amendment. Because if you can burn a flag, you could certainly tell somebody you don't like them.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or you could spread a rumor or a lie about somebody.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
and
misinformation. And if that's
Yeah.
the case, how do you prevent the news from doing it on a daily basis?
Right, and I don't think he means any of that, but I do think, yeah, obviously, then if somebody could ask him to kind of, or if he had more time to, because you can tell he was, saying it kind of a one,
Sure,
8 second
I would
clip. They asked him
obviously I would love to
question.
see more of that interview to see what the
Yeah.
full context was 100%. But
Yeah,
a quote like that never sits well for me at all.
or I think too in certain situations too, because that kind of it didn't seem very recent that he said that. I know a big thing obviously came around was when COVID, was big because you had some beer, it's not real, it's a blah blah, and all that. So I think that was another thing that kind of came into brought free speech into question and stuff too. So yeah, I would be curious to hear, but I don't think it's as bad as it sounds. I really don't. Based off everything else I've heard him say, it doesn't line up. If he were to be that extreme, I think, like I said, it's more like I said, like, yes, we have free speech and that, but that, that's not going to, like I said, you can't say I'm going to go to the Capitol and be serious about it, and then when the FBI comes to take you and question you, and go, oh, it was free speech. I'm
but we all
protected.
know that there's a line to be
There's gonna
drawn.
be-
You can't go into a full movie theater
We-
and start
we
screaming
do.
fire.
We
Yes,
do.
we do.
But let's be honest, there are a lot of people that will do it anyways.
My thing is, I just don't ever want a politician telling anybody of any sense what they can and cannot say
Right.
at all. I know that's one. I just never want to hear that. And even if there is more context to that quote, the fact that when you say that there's no guarantee, you're already on the wrong track, because there is, sir. That's what our Bill of Rights, our Constitution, everything is built. Those are our guarantees. They're inalienable. They're not allowed to be taken away because they were God-given. So unless they're willing to admit that there is no such thing as God, and our country is moving to a agnostic or whatever I can't even think of the word right now, people who don't believe, unless they say our country's moving towards that, I don't understand. I just don't think you just shouldn't say anything like that as a politician.
Yeah.
You should never say that. You should just never say that. You should say I don't care for it, or we got to try and fix it or get right information out there. But to say that there's no guarantee, that type of stuff never sits with me well.
Yeah. I'm just kind of curious. I'm looking into it a little bit.
Ahead. I mean, yeah, please. I wanted to share it because you were just talking about it. It just made me think of it. So,
yeah,
I wanted to put it out there because, again, I know likey. I don't want anybody ever telling me, you, or the guy down the street, or even the schizo standing on the corner saying that aliens are coming to fucking, kill us all. He has a right to that. Everybody does.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's being specific and talking
okay,
about
yes, this was in the context of the election being stolen. And so he's talking about the misinformation being spread on the election, stolen, people, saying all this type of stuff and blah blah blah.
Sure.
So yes, on the context for free speech, hate speech, all that misinformation, there's a right, but it gets deeper when it got to the election stuff that he was commenting. He seems to be talking about a particular kind of election misinformation, lies about where, when, and how, and who of voting. Some states already generally ban lies about such election mechanics. So that's already banned in some states to lie about the election. So on the misinformation,
talking about polling systems or news outlets.
I think he's talking about the actual voting. So like again, the misinformation around the 2020 election and all that. You had states and people claiming all these types of things. Particular kind of lies about the where, when, and how, and who, where, when, how, and who of voting. Some states already generally ban lies about such election mechanics. 13 states have statutes that prohibit false statements about voting requirements or procedures. Statutes within this category prohibit statements about what is required to vote or register, who can vote, when to vote, or how to vote. California, Maryland, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Virginia prohibit false information about voter registration or qualifications, targeting misrepresentations about the prospective voters' eligibility to vote in an election.
Okay.
Let's see.
See, that's weird then. So all right, so that makes me a little confused because
So basically,
a public entity or a political entity that's reporting voting stats, that's just lying. That's not.
but
They
that's what he
don't.
said. So on
Yeah,
the
but
misinformation point, if limited to the
sure.
context that Waltz seemed to have been describing in the court's words,
Okay. What about
messages
the hate speech
intended
part then?
messages intended to mislead voters about voting requirements and procedures. Yeah, that he's right. Waltz may
Sure,
very well be.
but I would assume that misinformation is coming from actual political entities, like voting polls and stuff like that. So yeah, that would be completely unethical for them to do that,
Right.
and I would say that's 100% correct. Is that as far as that? But what does that have to do with hate speech and a guarantee on free speech? Because padding stats or lying about stats has nothing to do with free speech. I mean, you can do it, but it's just unethical. I don't see
Okay,
how
so
that relates to hate.
here's the full conversation.
Yes, there we go. Thank you.
The host said, "I want to talk about what you just mentioned about misinformation because oftentimes before, in previous political chapters, disinformation, telling people where to vote the wrong way, that was kind of these were called considered shenanigans, but it's becoming more ominous. Can you talk a little bit about that?" Well, oh yes. And what will you do to ensure that there are penalties for that? Yes, years ago it was the little things, telling people to vote the day after the election. We kind of brushed them off.
Mhm.
Now we know it's intimidation at the ballot box. It's undermining the idea that mail-in ballots aren't legal. I think we need to push back on this. There is no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy. Tell the truth, where the voting places are, who can vote, who's able to be there.
Weird way of saying that.
Yeah, I agree. Little weird way, but for the most part, I don't disagree. Yeah.
No, I
These
don't. I
polls,
don't disagree with
they
that.
should be able to, and if they do, there should be because of their influence over people, and
Yes,
that there should
there should
be a
be
legal
penalties for that.
consequence.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, when it comes to voting and misinforming voters and people
Yes,
trying to vote or trying to find out where to register to vote,
yes.
100% that
So
should
that's
be
what he was trying to say.
okay. Yeah, I think he could have said it in a different way.
Probably could have said it. I mean, maybe got flustered or something, or as a lot of these people do.
Yeah.
But
Thank you for looking the rest of that up. Then, thank you.
Yeah, I do agree. He could have said that. Could have said it better. But now that I've had it explained, I agree. I do agree. At
Yeah,
least
I
in
totally agree.
that context.
Yes. Any further than that, and I'm going to have an issue, though.
Right. Any farther, but again, yeah. Or even same with some of these things in like Elon with Twitter. I think even there needs to be some sort of regulation. He's got so much power and influence. The first issue before even Twitter was the stock market, and GameStop and Dogecoin and all that type of stuff that, sent political economists into a frenzy for a few weeks.
Sure, but I
Yeah,
feel like
for
anything he does affects it, even if he's not explicitly stating anything. Like shit,
right.
when he went on Joe Rogan and smoked weed, Tesla stock
Right.
dumped. I wanted to kill him because that was my stock that I had. So like, don't do that. Like like I get it, but yes, I get what you're saying, but I do 100% agree with the polling and as far as misinformation on voting, 100%. I couldn't agree more with that. I don't know how you could qualify anything as far as voting and misinformation about that as hate speech. So again, that's where I find the weird part about it. But sure, I'm 100% on board if he's strictly talking about misinformation for voters, because that is 100% wrong. Shouldn't
Yeah.
be allowed to do it. And I
Yeah.
agree that it is an intimidation tactic, and it's beyond shenanigans.
Okay, so let's take it. So now, that
Yes. Now that I derailed us, let's get back on.
no. That's perfect. No, that's good. So
All
we're
right.
talking. Yeah, we got Tim Waltz now. Kamala, in her speech.
Tamala.
Yeah. So that was a disappointment, especially after the last two
Absolutely.
nights with Obama and with Waltz. and kind of a lot of excitement, too. Also, yeah, to talk about big thing with the Waltz thing, you had his son. That I even got emotional at that, and when his son was like, "That's my dad." Um, so yeah, I think that was just a big appeal with Waltz, and then Kamala came in with just kind of stories about her mother, and I just it was not. It's
Yeah,
not what she
her.
needed. I mean, we pretty much know her bio at this point. We know she's a prosecutor. We know what she's going to take on Trump on. Now we need to get down to the brass tacks of policies and of what are you going to do different from Biden? What are your plans for the country? Yeah, and we didn't get any of that. So for me, it was disappointing.
We got a lot of I wouldn't even call it a platitude, but we got just a lot of ideas is what we got.
Mm-hmm.
Or plans with no action yet, basically.
Right.
Because yeah,
And let's be honest, not really even a lot of ideas. I'm trying to think what.
I mean, well, this is what I got out of it.
Uh,
Because I tried to kind of go down how her speech went at the DNC, which she
right.
came out thanking Joe Biden and Walz. She went into her talk about her family, which transitioned into her mother telling her she could be anything she wanted.
She confirmed she's black. Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, we got that one. No, she confirmed she's Indian.
She's black. She's Jamaican.
She's Jamaican, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call that black. I'd call black people black. I wouldn't call Jamaicans black. I would call them Jamaicans because they're not African American, which is she likes to tout that she is. That's why she says she's black.
Bob, where do people from Jamaica come from?
Jamaica. They don't come from Jamaica? Jamaicans don't come from Jamaica? Where do they come from?
Africa.
There was no Jamaican.
90% of Jamaicans today come from Africa. Only 10% come from the. So more yeah.
So
more
that's
likely she,
yeah, but she was born in the '60s, sir. So if it's 90% today, wouldn't it be a lot less than?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no. If it's 90% today, no, it's still that means it was even more back to like 95% in the 60s came from South Africa. Jamaica is made up today of 90% South Africans. So technically, yeah, she is African American.
I still don't believe it.
Fake news.
It is.
Yeah, okay, so here we go.
You're fake news.
According to a 2020 study, more than 90% of Jamaicans come from the South African hemisphere. Let's see. Black Jamaicans have 97.5% of African mtDNA and little European or Asian ancestry.
I want to see her 23andMe. I want to see her birth certificate. Show me her birth certificate. All right. Well, fuck me then, but okay. But yeah, so she went from be anything, talking to her parents about her parents. They met because they were both civil rights activists.
Right.
She talked about being a lawyer, believing in safety, dignity, and justice. Kamala Harris is for the people. She accepted the nomination, said that we have a new way forward. This is where me and you were both stunned when she said this.
Oh, God, her border thing. Yeah, motherfucker.
Yes, this was her one quote that she made about Donald Trump in her speech. That not only is Donald Trump going to set free January 6 prisoners, he is also going to jail reporters who disagree with him and send U.S. military after American citizens.
Okay.
That is a quote.
Yeah.
And that is, I don't know how the fuck you could say that because that is just abhorrent. After that, she dove into the Project 2025 as all Trump's. He doesn't give back, or we're not going backwards, only forwards. It's a new way forward. She's going to build the middle class, but didn't say how. She's going to create jobs, but didn't say how. She's going to cut taxes for the middle class, but didn't say how. She's going to take abortions and bring it back and reinstate Roe v. Wade and take it away from the states. She's going to prevent the Republicans from banning IVF treatment. Jesus Christ. Then she went on to abortion reporting for women. We should trust all women in their decisions with their body. She talked about climate change and voting. Um, talked about we need to strengthen the military, but didn't say how. We need to make more NATO allies, but didn't say how. And we need to get a immediate, permanent ceasefire between Israel and Gaza, but of course, didn't say how. Um, with that, though, prior to the DNC, her speech at the DNC, she did hold a policy speech. She did in North Carolina on the 16th this month, where she did lay out some policies here, and I'll briefly go through them since she didn't tell us
Okay,
anything
yeah,
at the DNC.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, and
Um,
I had some too. Some.
perfect. So during her policy speech on the 16th in North Carolina, she laid out her two visions for the future impasse of the country, being the economy. It's the strongest in the world, 16 million jobs, under 3% inflation. She wants to build on this and build a opportunity economy where everyone competes and succeeds, which I don't know how you do that, but that's okay.
Sounds nice.
Um, all this sounds nice. She wants to cut bureaucracy spending, which again sounds nice. Oh, let's see. She wants to build the middle class, which is key. What else? What else? She wants seniors to be able to retire with dignity, and we need to have stronger unions. She wants to lower costs of living, which is crazy when it's so high right now. Another big thing with her, which she really didn't get too much on, was home buying and higher costs coming down. She wants to, let's see, Jesus, as she said in her own words right now, when it comes to the economy, bread, beef are up 50%. She wants to ban food price gouging. She wants to enlist penalties for price gouging.
A
She
lot of
wants to,
these sound good, but where I need the know-how. Okay, I know we kind of talked about this week
yes,
and stuff, like specifically with the price gouging. Okay,
yes,
and putting regulations on these companies. I don't think that's a bad thing, but you really it's got to be explained. And first
yes,
of all, you have to have economic analysts figure out how we're going to do this in a way that like we said, that doesn't hurt mom and pop shops,
yes,
grocery stores, and all that. But at the same time, um, also helps them from shutting down from when people like Walmart and Target and Albertsons and all these other ones are doing this
exactly,
price raising thing that keeps fucking over everybody, and their CEOs are getting $100 million bonuses at the end of the year. Um,
exactly.
which again, I don't care. I don't mind people being millionaires and CEOs and blah 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 and all that type of stuff. But yes, we have a very unregulated, capitalism, in our country,
Mhm.
and I think that's a good thing and a bad thing. Especially as we've progressed as a society. Now these monopolies are really becoming, and it's not just groceries. So, now it's
Well,
monopolies in internet. Now it's
ex-
monopolies in phones. It's
well,
monopoly.
exactly. But when it comes to this, I guess my worry is who determines what is too much to charge for an item, who determines what is too low.
Right.
How does that affect the farmer who's growing produce or raising cattle? You know what I'm saying? Because if they can only sell their beef at X amount of dollars for the grocery store to then sell it for X amount of dollars, that could be a real problem, like a real problem. She also said she wanted to help small companies. But then when she talks about things like an unrealized gains tax, um, like that is just insanity to me because an unrealized gains tax, I'm going to try and explain this in the best terms I can, as layman as I can. So, for instance, if you own a business, and I believe it's an unrealized gain would be like, geez, let me get smart here, so I'm not giving out misinformation. Walls, I don't want you
Right.
coming after me. Okay, so I don't want to sound too dumb. Okay, there we go. So an unrealized gain is the increase in value of an asset that has not been sold. So you have a house, sir, that you bought, right? You and Brad buy a house, let's say for $150,000, right?
Uh-huh.
The next year comes around and they put a value on your house of $250,000. that is an unrealized gain because you've gained equity, but you haven't sold the house. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now, because of that, you have to pay 25% tax on that 250 on that difference. You get what I'm saying? On that
Yes.
increase that you made.
Yes.
How is that going to help middle class, any kind of type of families? Because where does that money come from?
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's got to be explained.
Nobody has 25% just lying around.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's got
So
to be
that's a
explained.
lot of stuff she needs to really, really hit on. What else did she have to say here?
Absolutely.
She talked about the tariff Trump tax on gas and food and clothing is going to be messy. It's going to cost, like we went over that earlier, it's going to cost the average family around $3,900 a year. She wants to healthcare. She wants to healthcare for all is one of her policies. She wants to probably try and do while lowering healthcare prices. Again, she talked about the $35 insulin. Um, 2000 which would save seniors roughly about $2,000 a year. Let's see. She wants to get rid of medical debt, so that way that'll help boost everybody's credit score, which I'm in favor of that. That's fine.
Right.
Let's see. She talked about Trump wanting to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which he says would cut Medicare, which he said he wouldn't do, cut Medicare or Medicaid. Which would basically put, which he said, I think about 44 million people out of insurance.
Sure.
She's definitely running on home ownership for younger people being a big thing.
Yeah.
There's a housing shortage currently because, so many people are coming over. We don't have enough places to put them.
Right.
Jesus Christ. So with the housing shortage, she wants to cut the red tape around states and locals, on state and local regulations around getting affordable housing. Oh my God, it's just I have so many notes here. It's so crazy. It's almost like looking at like the scribbles of like a madman trying to. It's just so much shit I've been listening to and just trying to
Absorb. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's okay. So she wants to build 3 million new homes and rentals for the middle class. She wants to make sure that no corporations can purchase these type of homes or rental units that they want to build, so that way it's not corporate entities that are making these mortgages and or rental prices, which that sounds like okay. She wants, again, price fixing law. Okay, first time home buyer, $25,000 down payment given to you by the government. Just didn't say where that money's coming from or how that's going to work while housing prices are rising, because if housing prices rises, so does your down payment, and that 25,000 might not even help you, because if you don't have a down payment, the 25,000 is great, but if they need 30, where are you getting the other 5 if you don't already have it?
Sure. Sure.
She, again, like everybody else, hit on.
But now let's be honest. There, at least 5,000 is easier to gain than 25,000. You know.
Absolutely, but if you're already living paycheck to paycheck.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. But again, at that point, I think it's probably easier.
Sure, the 25 is great, but if you're
people to
required
get.
for a $30,000 or $40,000 down payment, you're still fucked. Now you're taking out a loan for an additional that you have to pay back on top of your already loan for your house payment.
Right. Right.
So now you have a mortgage plus a loan to pay back.
Yeah.
It just, there needs to be more explanation of how this works.
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's a lot of just points without how we're gonna do it. Okay, so yeah, we just went over all her economic stuff, home buyer tax credit, price gouging, all that type of stuff.
She does have a little bit more, because she did say
Okay.
she wanted to expand. These are kind of carryover policies from her already Biden-Harris administration. She wants to do $100 million tax cut, which I believe she said would be for the middle class, which is on the earned income and child tax credits.
Okay.
Which child tax credit is good because that allows for, I believe she said, about $6,000 in the first year of a newborn, which that's great for a new parent. When it comes to the $100 million tax cut and the earned income and child tax, she's quoted as saying, "We just know it works."
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. That's no. It's not
She
good
wants
enough.
she wants to reduce the deficit, but didn't say how. She wants to get rid of the Trump corporate tax cuts. She wants to. What else did she want to do? She said we need to explode and get rid of the deficit that we are in. And I believe that is pretty much it for her policy speech. And that the only other thing I would add is I got two quotes here around the same time of this speech from Bill Maher on his HBO show that he does.
Yeah. I didn't get to finish. I didn't get to finish the whole episode.
Yes, in regard to her, not the most recent one. This is a couple weeks back during this week of the 16th here.
Okay.
But in his little spiel about Kamala Harris, he made two comedic quips. One he said was when it comes to her, he was talking about the 2020 election here and talking about how Biden received all the votes to be the nominated president to run this year, but now she's just, since he dropped out, she's in.
Yeah.
So in regards to that, he said, you can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 election on one hand, as long as that hand has no fingers. And then he also went on to say that in her 3 years as vice president, she's been quieter than an electric vehicle.
Yes.
All right. The floor is
Yes.
yours, Senator. I need to have a sip of water after all that.
Yes, I mean, like we've always said, I think it's it's a weird time because just the fact of replacing Biden brought a lot of energy to the Democrats and to the party and stuff, but now we're in this place where we don't know too much about our candidate besides that she's not Donald Trump or Joe Biden.
We know she wants to run on the strength of joy.
Yes, joy is definitely in her campaign, which I'm fine with. I think a little happiness and not
Are
negativity.
you?
But
Off stream, when we get done with this, when you're done, I want you to go and Google "strength through joy,"
oh no,
and then you can let me. I mean, you could do it now if you want. I would not suggest whatever shows up you putting on the screen because YouTube might not like it. But just Google "strength through joy" if that's the type of message she wants to send. I hope somebody like in her like around her like tells her to drop that line, because if you're seeing what I'm thinking you're seeing right now, it's probably not like the best thing really to be
yeah,
touting.
yeah. I
Yeah.
don't.
I wouldn't show that on there because I don't think YouTube
Yeah.
takes too kindly to those type of people and symbols.
Hopefully somebody
There really needs to be worked on.
mentions. Yeah, they need to just
Thought I heard that before sometime in a history class.
I mean,
And
yeah.
I was like, I remember that.
Dear
I remember
God.
that propaganda campaign. Look how much fun we're having here. Aren't we
God.
such great people? We're so joyous. Joy. Let's
I
drop
mean,
the
look,
joy.
yeah. Let's not do that.
Yeah, because that's not a policy anybody wants.
Right. All right, so let's take a look here at here's a couple of things. So we just went over her economics. So on immigration, let's see. Harris' position on the border has changed over time. 2020, while campaigning for the Democratic presidential nomination, she had fairly progressive positions, such as promising to close down immigration detention centers. In 2021, Mr. Biden asked Ms. Harris as vice president to oversee the diplomatic effort around immigration issues on the U.S. southern border. Many Republicans have characterized her as the border czar, but she was tasked specifically with working with Central American countries to address the root causes of why people were fleeing to the U.S. As part of that effort, she announced in 2023 that she had helped raise about $3 billion, largely from private companies, to invest in communities in the region, hoping to provide opportunities that would make immigrating to the U.S. less attractive. Earlier this year, she aided the effort to pass a hardline bipartisan border security deal that would have included hundreds of millions of dollars for border wall construction. But Trump helped kill the deal, accusing Biden's border policies of causing death, destruction, and chaos in every American community. Ms. Harris said in her D.C. acceptance speech that she would bring back the bipartisan security bill, and I will sign it into law. Well, okay, so there's her answer for immigration.
That's kind of crazy because I remember 2016 when the Orange Man said he wanted to build a wall. Everybody was so hesitant, and
Yeah.
everybody said it was racist and it's not good, but now it's okay because they're spending $100 billion to build a wall. I see how
Well,
it
look.
goes.
Well, look. Yes. Besides that, which is very hypocritical, you're right. And at this point, it's kind of. I just look at it as it's too late. You're all idiots for saying all that stuff. Giving him shit stuff. But at least now, like this is a bipartisan bill. You're getting your wall. They're getting that. Like they made an effort to
Sure.
now try
I
and
want to
fix
know. I want to know
too
how
little,
he
too
kills it,
late.
though. I want to
Too
know how
little.
he kills it.
Well, I mean, come on. This goes
Well,
into that. This was what back at the beginning of the year. This goes into effect and gets passed into law. What does he now have to
yeah, but how does
criticize
he kill
Kamala
it?
and Biden?
How does he talk to 200
Because
Republicans and convince them to say no?
he's still got all their. He's the nominee. They all love. They will listen to him. Oh,
Yeah, but
absolutely, they'll listen to him. And plus, this is also like this isn't just a Trump thing. This is something that happens in politics all the freaking time.
sure.
We're probably about to see it on Harris's or on Biden's side that I'm sure they're gonna fix something before he leaves office to give the Dems a boost. So
Sure.
um,
Yeah, they got to do. They need an October
yes,
surprise.
yes. This is where for me it really pissed this whole campaign thing really pisses me off and all because it's both sides. It's both sides they do this. We end up hurting the American people and not dealing with the issues that need to be done because what am I going to criticize Biden for if he's got a bipartisan immigration bill that I couldn't get done? I mean, like that's really the basis of it. And most Republicans that want Trump back in office know, yeah, that is a big thing that he's running on. He's especially now with Kamala being the face and not Biden, even more so. That nothing much has been done with the border. That's a damaging
Sure.
tactic for him to use throughout this campaign. So yeah, I think a big part of it absolutely, and I would not be surprised if once he gets in there, he signs it. I think it's literally
Yeah. It was. I would assume he would sign it. It's his idea.
not that bit, no,
Not this one,
no,
no. But
yeah.
originally, the
Well, that's
wall
what I'm
was
saying.
his idea,
Yeah,
and nobody wanted it because it was him.
Which then I also think is funny because he's criticizing it and saying it's going to cause destruction to America and all this chaos and blah blah blah. You're getting what the I don't. That's what tells me. I don't even think he's read the bill because a lot of the bill leans to conservative Republican wants.
Then I would have to
a
assume.
lot.
I would have to assume there's other stuff in that bill then that Republicans did not care for.
Well, of
Because-
course, just like there's stuff in the bill Dems did that's called a bipartisan. But the point was, we're getting something done when we're having to spend money, and we have to, figure it out. We can't. This can't be an all right bill.
Well,
all the rights
no,
can't be an
sure.
all Dem
I
bill.
get that. But when they say bipartisan, do they mean all 400 representatives from both sides wrote this bill? Or are we talking about two guys from the Dems and two guys from the Republicans that said, yeah, we agree on this?
They did do a percentage, and they did do a whole thing, and it was like a large majority of both Dem and Republicans were for the bill until Trump came out and started criticizing it. Then all of a sudden, you literally see it in real time. A bunch of Republicans start to walk back on the bill, and so it's let's see if I can find.
Because I mean, shit. If it was like if I was there and I read the bill and it was something like, well, yeah, we're doing all this to the border wall, which is great, and we're going to close the border. Okay, great. But we also have in the bill that we're sending like 50 billion over to fucking Ukraine just for the fun of it again. Like, no, I would vote no to, because what does that have to do with border security? Zero. Don't see too many Ukrainians or Russians flooding over here these days across the Mexican border. So if that was the case, I could understand the Trump.
So even the chief negotiator of the bill was a Republican negotiator, Senator Lankford. He was even drafted by mainly Republicans and agreed to by Democrats.
See, then I don't even see that's kind of weird then, because I guess because if he doesn't kill it, he could still use that.
That's what I'm saying. He's my guess is he's still going to use it. because
No, but I mean, like, if he didn't kill the bill, he could still, if the bill passes, he could still use that as, look, my party is the party that got these guys to finally sit down and say, let's get this done.
yeah,
That's
I
what,
mean, he could,
you
but
know what I
again,
mean? I guess, but
it's not as bad as going. They haven't done anything. They still haven't
True.
done it, and even now we're still like now because the bill hasn't passed. Yeah, the immigration numbers are going up. Blah blah blah. You know, he's now got an extra 3 or 4 months worth of, the border still being unsecure to now use.
so I would think that at that point, then he would just sign an executive order.
Yeah, I think he'll either sign it or
No, not Trump. I mean Biden. Your bill gets
Biden.
killed. Well, fuck it. I'll just sign an executive order.
There was a reason why he couldn't. Because somebody said that. I had already looked into.
Because according to Donnie T, he could just sign an. He said this at the last time last week or whatever, when he had his little press thing at the border. He said, I signed an executive order. Why can't he sign an executive order? That's what I did. I didn't have to get a vote. I didn't need a bill to close the border. You know what happened? Stuff started happening. I closed the border.
Well, yeah, okay. So it says he did sign an executive order in January of this that did shut down asylum seekers.
Okay.
But even that is saying he lacked the authority to do it.
So those are just for show. I signed it, but we can't do anything with it.
That's another thing with my issues with executive orders, and every president likes to use them. It's so they're so kind of weird,
Yeah.
and so yeah, I'm not too sure on that one, but
All right.
yeah, I know as far as the bill being killed and stuff, yeah, a lot of it had to do with Trump because he literally told a lot of I'm running my campaign on immigration. Big part of the campaign is on immigration.
Well, then, and more power to him. Fuck him. Don't give Joe Biden nothing.
Let's see on abortion. Let's see.
I'll
Ms.
suffer
Harris
for another 3 months.
I know, right? Let him
Can't get any work.
Fuck those immigration laws. Let them all in.
Yeah, let them all in. At this point, why not?
She played a key role in Biden's campaign's effort to make abortion rights central in the 2024 election and has long advocated for legislation, blah, blah, blah. That position has not changed. When Congress passes a law to restore reproductive freedoms as President of the United States, I will sign it into law. Okay, yeah, so we know all about that. NATO and Ukraine aid. While much of her early career focused on the state of California, since going to Washington, Sarris has become more involved in the global stage. As senator, she traveled to Afghanistan, Iraq, Jordan, and Israel. As vice president, she's met with 150 world leaders and visited 21 countries. She attended the Munich Security Conference in the past year. She delivered remarks in support of Western Security Alliance NATO that denounced isolationism. She has also vowed to support Ukraine in its war against Russia for as long as it takes. Ms. Harris represented the U.S. in June at the peace conference convened by the Ukraine and Switzerland, where she reaffirmed Washington's support. She noted in her DNC speech that she had met with President Vladimir Zelensky, and 5 days before the Kremlin ordered the invasion of Ukraine to warn him about Russia's plan to invade. She said that she then helped mobilize a global response. In her speech, she also pledged to ensure that America, not China, wins the competition for the 21st century and that we strengthen, not abdicate, our global leadership. Okay.
I like how the BBC knows more about her policies than she does.
Yes, which, by the way, we should get this out of the way. You won't find any of these policies on the Kamala Harris campaign website.
You won't find any policies on the Kamala Harris website, to be honest.
As me and Bob vehemently researched and looked through it the other night, which this was the real shock for me because like when I got into like interest of politics and all this type of stuff back in high school, like in 2015, that was the big thing because even in 2015 the nominees hadn't been set right for the candidates. You still had like 4 or 5 in each, and each of them had their websites with their policies, things I'm going to do, all the.
Yep.
It's kind of just it's like
Yeah.
standard stuff. It's something that it just kind of comes with the territory.
Yes, usually
Put
the
together a
candidate
presidential
lays out their
website.
first 100 days. Like they
Exactly.
have like their plan for that. Yes.
You put together a presidential website. It's got the plans. It's got it's got like her list of where she's coming to rally. It's got
Mhm.
all these types of things, and you could not find anything
There's
on
no
this damn
policy.
website. Not a link to another website with policies. Not even like nothing.
You can
Jack,
donate though.
Diddley
You can
squat.
donate.
Donate, and you can get some nice bios on her and on Tim Waltz.
Yep.
And kind of like minimalistic her ideas for the which is just kind of this paragraph of like a bright future and get the kind of buzzwords that
Yes.
sound good. And so we have literally had to spend the weekend and now today going to other websites and getting our own information and doing our own research to figure out what the hell or put together, something on what her policies may be, because she has not addressed it herself.
No, still really hasn't done a sit-down interview with anybody to talk
right,
about
no
policy.
Yeah.
Which I think I think a lot of her policy is going to be carryover already from this administration.
Probably, more than likely, yeah.
So if that's the case, I don't see why we're not talking about it. Why you know what I mean? And I don't know if that's a strategy because they're trying to, in a sense, separate themselves in a way from Joe Biden because he's old. He's, this is new blood now. This is, even though she was just with the guy for the last 3.5, this is new. You know what I mean? This is where all the excitement's coming from because we have new, even though everybody was happy about him 2 months ago and loved him, and he swore up and down he wasn't dropping out of the race. Now all of a sudden it's her. So that might make me think why she's not touting policy so much because
I think
it's going to
be the same.
Yeah, because if you're trying to seem like if this is a fresh new start, you don't really want to walk out there with the same old shit.
Yes. Now, the one thing she did address as well was Gaza, Israel and Gaza, and this was kind of surprising to me. She specifically brought up October 7th and the importance of that and all that, while also still, saying that, we need to negotiate these hostages. We need to put an end to this. Gaza and Israel has become a very sensitive situation and source of contention among both parties and stuff. And so...
And you had a lot of pro-Palestine supporters outside the DNC.
Yes.
And you also had, you could double check to make sure this is true or not. But reports I heard that the last night of the DNC, there was supposed to be a pro-Palestine speaker, which they just cut. Told her she was going to speak and then told her, no, not today.
Yeah. Well, again, it's like I said, it's become a very serious issue, especially with these older people and younger people. Here's the thing. I think unfortunately, it's happened more so on my party, and then you have a lot of younger and ignorant students and kids and stuff, protesting for Hamas and pro-Palestine and all that.
Yep.
It's a serious situation. It needs to be
Gays
looked at.
for Palestine is the best, I think, probably.
Yeah, that's insane. But yeah, look, the fact is Israel was attacked. They responded as any country would if they were attacked like that.
Now they're in all-out war. I mean, you just had Palestine, I think, last night into today or the night before into yesterday, like sending 200 fucking rockets over there, testing the Iron Dome. I mean...
but even then, it's still kind of like these rockets and these things that they have. They're not near it's.
No, but they're killing people over there. The Palestinians they're just bombing Israel to death. They're killing the Gaza Strip.
They're trying. Well, they're not. They're not doing much. No. Oh no. Right now, Palestine and for months, Palestine has not done much since October 7th. The Iron Dome is doing a phenomenal job of taking out the IVF or whatever they're called. Israel.
They
Defense
just blew up a mosque yesterday in Israel. They blew up one of the oldest standing mosques.
The Palestinian. I missed that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of that.
Yeah. Let's look this up.
Let's see here. But I mean, either way, it's like yes, people are dying on both sides, but like Israel's definitely the superpower here. They've got way.
Well,
They'll
they're our
this-
ally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're our ally for sure. And so, but what I'm saying is like, this is kind of being drawn out. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Israel is obviously more powerful than Palestine. Palestine doesn't stand. Hamas does not stand. This isn't a war anymore. Like, Palestine doesn't stand a chance against what Israel has in its defenses and that type of stuff. And so now it feels like, okay, we're just dragging this out. Either get everybody in there and finish this, whatever that looks like, or you have to figure out there's still a lot of innocent lives and innocent people there in Palestine that Hamas is using for cover and doing. There's a lot of oppression going on there that it's not as simplistic as like, oh, you're in Palestine, just get out, just go. Well, it's not that simple. So yeah, something needs. In other words, something needs to be done. But that doesn't mean Israel, like, is in trouble, or that we need to go for Palestine, whatever. Like, we need to negotiate these hostages. I think somebody needs to sit Netanyahu down and say, all right, you showed you got a big dick. The whole world saw it. Put it away, and let's get back to, the real world. So I think, that was surprising to hear, because I know a lot of progressives are very, either pro Palestine or that type of stuff. So, yeah, that's her on Israel. Taxes. In 2017, while as senator, Ms. Harris supported a number of progressive tax programs, co-sponsoring a bill with Bernie Sanders to expand Social Security for the elderly by increasing the tax rate on investments. As a presidential candidate in 2019, she supported a corporate tax rate of 35%, up from 21%. This was more aggressive than President Biden's proposal, which also supported an increase to 28%.
Yes.
A campaign official told the BBC that Vice President will continue to back President Biden's proposal of not raising taxes on Americans earning less than $400,000. Ms. Harris said during her DNC acceptance speech that she would pass a middle-class tax cut that would benefit more than 100 million Americans, though details on that plan remain fairly sparse.
Yes.
Great. Healthcare.
Again, the BBC just doing more policy work than her campaign is insane.
Yes. Crime. Ms. Harris started her legal career prosecuting child abusers and sex traffickers before being elected district attorney of San Francisco, then California's Attorney General. Her officers increased conviction rates, particularly on violent criminals, though that history led to criticism from the progressive left, which at times labeled her a cop. Meanwhile, the right has accused her of being soft on crime, although her record is contradictory. As prosecutor, she declined to seek the death penalty against someone who killed a cop, but as California's Attorney General, she fought for the state's right to keep using it. Ms. Harris has also used her past as prosecutor to serve as a major contrast with her opponent, who was convicted on 34 charges in a hush money scheme to illegally influence the 2016 election. She made mention of his conviction in her DNC speech. Trump was found guilty of fraud by a jury of everyday Americans and separately found liable for committing sexual abuse. Climate. Ms. Harris has long advocated for tough laws to protect the environment. As a prosecutor, Ms. Harris defended California's climate laws and sued oil companies for environmental damage. She also called for climate change policies via a Green New Deal during her 2020 presidential campaign, some of which has come to fruition under the current administration. During a CNN presidential debate in 2019, she said, "There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking, which is a technique for recovering gas and oil from shale rock. She has reversed her position since throwing her hat in the 2020 presidential race." Okay. So she is for fracking now.
Cool. So I would say that's another policy idea still from Trump. So first she took the no tax on tips. Now she's for fracking. Okay. I see you, Kamala.
Well, I mean, if it works, I mean, now this is one thing I do like. Yes, these oil companies, and this is something where like Trump and Elon could probably team up, because you do have these oil companies and these other companies that there's no regulation and they do not give a fuck about the waste that they're getting rid of, where they're putting it, what it's doing to the surrounding areas, like ecology and that type of stuff. And so I think that's just whether you're
So
suing them to
does
do the right thing or you're giving them some sort of regulations to do the way. It's kind of like nuclear waste. We have regulations on waste and nuclear waste and all these other things. There needs to be that same type of stuff for oil companies and the stuff that they're producing and all of that.
so does it give you any cause of concern when you hear Trump saying like drill baby drill?
A little bit, because I don't think he's smart enough to know what that means. We need to drill. Obviously, Biden has said we need to drill and all that type of stuff, but we need to do it in a way where we're also, like we said, we're figuring out how to get rid of the waste and all this other stuff with materials and all these things that, in a proper manner that isn't, because like they said, and I've seen this with oil companies before, and especially in the Midwest and stuff, is they're pretty much allowed to dump wherever they want, and so that effect on the environment or on the people or whatever, can be very, very damaging. Again, it's like nuclear waste or these type of, when military does tests on any of that type of stuff. We can't just go throw it out into the environment and because it ends up affecting the actual ecology of that area and stuff. So that I'm cool with. That's a good thing. But let's see, as prosecutor Sarah's defended California's climate laws and sued oil companies. Oh yeah. Do that. As vice president, she helped pass the Inflation Reduction Act, which has funneled hundreds of billions of dollars for renewable energy and electric vehicle, with solar and all that type of stuff, which I think is fine. Let's see. Last year, she noted in a speech that it constituted the largest climate investment in our nation's history and emphasized the need to protect against extreme weather. Okay. Gun laws. Miss Harris has
the shortest one on this whole list. Did you
I know.
It's like three small paragraphs.
Yeah, well, from what I guess is between her and Waltz is they're going to have kind of the same policy on that, where they're not trying to get rid of guns, maybe like full on semi-automatic weapons. Yeah, I don't think we can probably get rid of them, but for the most part, I think it's just going to be regulations.
Semi-auto, that's like every gun, sir.
Or I'm sorry, not semi-auto, automatic. My bad.
See, they're coming after our guns. Confirmed.
Yeah, automatic weapons. But I think for the most part, it'll be regulations, kind of like background checks, just being more strict. Ms. Harris has a history of backing gun safety regulations throughout her political career. She successfully defended California's gun laws when they faced legal challenges as the state's attorney general. As vice president, she has overseen the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, and earlier this year announced the creation of resource centers to support the implementation of red flag laws aimed at keeping firearms from those who may harm themselves and others.
We already have those, honestly. If you're committed, like if you for mental health, you're already flagged. You can't buy a gun.
I think but I also think too, in some places, I think it depends on state, whereas this needs to be like a national thing. Because I'll tell you what, here in Nevada, pretty much anybody can get a gun, even a felon that has left jail, and stuff. So it's
You hear that, boys? Time to move to Nevada.
Yeah. So I think that's I think the main thing with gun laws is we have state regulations, we need national regulations. So that way everything's across the board, even on that. She also encouraged states to tap into $750 million in federal funds the Biden-Harris administration made available for crisis intervention programs. So those are Kamala's kind of policies.
Yeah.
That we found, at least.
Not from her, though, but from the BBC fucking C, of all places. The British Broadcasting Company knows more about her policies than she does.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, so overall, for her, it's still looking very iffy, at least for me. I think she's got a lot of younger people and a lot of people definitely backing her.
I would agree with that. I would agree she probably I would say she probably has a majority of the young vote because there
Yeah.
aren't too many young people I see that are that big of fans of
Right.
Trump. Now again, I'm only getting that from what I see on Twitter, and
Same.
my feed is full of anti-Trump shit. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's what I'm seeing. The algorithm is completely, giving
Well,
me just
which is weird. I was looking through it the other day and even thinking about it.
mm,
My Twitter is pretty balanced. I see
I,
everybody. I don't
I
know if
don't
I
I don't
didn't.
get more balance than I see a lot of the Democratic and left wing side. Just most of my time is well, like today because he went to Arlington, which we were talking about earlier.
Right. Right.
My entire For You timeline is just people bitching that he's there.
See, okay, I do get a pretty balance. So we've talked about I get the Chrysanthemums, and some of that, and other people in their sphere.
Sure.
I get Benny Johnson, and some of the right wing uh, podcasters and commentators too, and can't remember this one
Now this could be
black guy
my
Don
fault. On my on Bob's Twitter here.
Pops.
I tried to keep
Yeah.
that like neutral. I really only follow like people I know
Hmm.
and a lot of entertainment and movie stuff on there. That's how I tried to like keep my For You page kind of consistent with that. Um, Unfortunately, now that we're doing a lot of this political stuff and I'm
It's
looking
starting
at things,
to get mixed.
yeah, and I'm getting a lot of the politics side more than anything,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't get to see a mix. And again, this is just my
Yeah,
For You page. It's not
I don't
who
know
I'm
how I
following.
did it.
So
Maybe it's just, I mean, well, I've had the Twitter page I've been using for 12 years.
mhm.
So I've had it
Yes,
for forever. But, I mean, yeah, I think that's the thing, though. I do take time, like, to look at everything.
mhm.
So, if it's
The
liberal
only
or
right side
Democrat
accounts
related,
I see a lot, unfortunately, are from like fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene or Laura
oh,
Boebert.
yeah. I don't
Like
even
those are
see
like
her.
the
I
only
don't even
two I
see
like
her.
ever see.
But I see Vivek, I see Benny Johnson, I see Dom,
I
whatever
get
his
Vivek
last
every
name
now and then. Yeah,
is. I see, like I said, I see the Chrysanthemums. I see a lot of both sides. I really do, which I like. I really love that because I want to be
I
able.
would love to get more of that.
And I'm trying to keep it up. So like, I'll like things from both sides, even if I don't like the post or like the comment or whatever. I'll still like it
Sure.
just to keep it in my algorithm because I don't want it to go full liberal and full like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I was pretty surprised with my Twitter. I think but at the same time, yeah, Twitter is also becoming a bit of a different space now with Elon and all that. So
Sure, sure. I mean, as far as the political side of it, it is a 100% divide.
yeah,
There's no talking to. When I was in there today and I was looking at all this stuff about Trump being at Arlington and I'm looking through comments and what people are saying and you got I came across one guy who's a veteran, a US United States Marine Corps veteran as he's explaining in the comments.
yeah,
And I'm watching somebody who is claiming not to be politically on the left, but also not a Trump supporter.
right,
And I'm watching them. This guy was trying to say, well, the families invited Trump today to Arlington for this memorial for the soldiers that were lost 3 years ago.
yeah,
Um, and the post he was commenting on was somebody saying, this is fucking disgusting. This guy did, he called the troops suckers and losers. Why is he even here? He's only here
yeah,
because it's 70 days away from the election. Which sure, you could probably make that. That's a fine point to me. You can make that thing. But again, his point was, well, Kamala isn't there. Joe didn't show up. But he's here, and
right,
he's there. And then they were making light of the picture he took with the families, because in classic Trump fashion, he's with the families. They're around one of the tombstones of the soldiers that had fallen, and in the picture, which probably not the best look to give, I'll agree with that. But everybody in the picture is doing it. They're all smiling and all
right,
giving a thumbs up.
right.
So like people are like, well, how fucking disgraceful is that? What is this to be happy about? Like, What do you like? I don't know what you want the guy to do. Should he sit
Like,
there frowning with 2 thumbs down? Like, I
this
don't
is
get it.
this is going to happen, from now until the end of the election, where
Sure.
we're going to get muddled in these little things, and this is where the media sucks.
Yeah,
CNN,
because that's the
obviously,
shit.
'cause-
Well, see, this isn't even media. This is regular people. This wasn't like a post from MSNBC. This is what I'm just seeing is
But I'm sure they'll end up covering it, or saying something at some point, like,
sure.
because that's just what they do. They see it start to circulate online, and then they make it a headline and do all that.
Yeah.
And so, I felt the same. I felt the same way with the people criticizing Kamala for buying a bag of chips, a bag of Doritos and stuff. Like, this is
I criticized him for that. I think that's the dumbest shit
yes,
ever.
but this type of stuff, that and the fact that Trump's smiling with the family, giving a thumbs up, is so little. So this is the little tiny minute stuff that who cares, because each one's a political stunt. Let's be honest. Trump being there, sure, like maybe he cares a little bit, but he knows it's good for his campaign.
Yeah, but it's not that he
knows
just showed up. He was invited. That's different. To
right.
me.
And for him, yeah, it's supporters. He's getting a vote, and all that type of stuff. Same thing. It's a political stunt. Kamala in a gas station getting some chips like a normal person. Like
Okay, true.
These
But
types
I
of
would
things,
say the big difference is nobody then sees, nobody looks at Trump doing that and then oh, that's a nice gesture. He went out there, he supported the families. That's nice. That's nice. No,
well, because
everybody's just he's an asshole for doing this. He's only doing it for the presidency. He's only there because of that. He doesn't care. He called dead soldiers suckers and idiots. You're a sucker and a loser. But he didn't. I can name you 13 people, okay, that were there at the day that said he didn't say that, and they're all high-ranking officials. And only one guy said that he said that, and it just so happened to be a general he fired. Go figure.
Yeah, no, I look again.
Not only did he fired and then publicly called him an idiot.
Yeah,
so
I don't think it's every time and all that. Like I thought the Kamala video wasn't that bad. Again, like you're trying to make yourself look normal for the but say I just look at it both ways. They're both political stunts, especially right now, like in the time that they are. I don't think Trump every time he's done it or in the past and stuff.
No, but but I don't see, like, I know you brought up like when he goes into like the fucking McDonald's or something. Sure.
Right.
But it's still filled with people.
Right.
You didn't empty it out to be like, I need to come in here and order 900 burgers.
True.
That's what gets me. Because if you're supposed to be the party of the people and you're running on the fact that you're for the middle class, why are you closing down a fucking gas? You know how pissed I'd be if I couldn't go into it. Like, I can't go in and buy my fucking bag of chips that I want because your dumbass is in here filling a fucking promo. Like, fuck you. Like, either let me in and let me say, hey, I like you, or hey, I dislike you. That's how it should be. Like, it really should. Like, if these, and it should be that way on both sides. If you're going to go out and do this campaign trail thing and you're going to have camera crews following you everywhere, then you know what? Don't close down things. Let people come and talk to you. Let people interact with you. If you want me to feel like you're just one of the, you're just like me. You go to a Sheetz and you buy fucking Doritos. Oh my God. Like, and like you said, it's those stupid little things in politics that, but you know what? There are people that do buy into that. There are people that physically sit there and go, Sheetz nacho cheese Doritos, just like me. I eat those. I buy those.
Yeah, that's. I mean, that's.
And that's the type of political pandering to those type of people that I hate on both sides of the aisle.
Yes, I do agree.
Sides.
Yeah, you're pandering to the lowest common denominator.
Exactly. That type of shit doesn't matter to me. Now, I believe that his fat ass will go to a McDonald's and eat some fucking burgers. All day long, I'll believe that. All day, 100%. I don't buy that she just stops at a fucking random store because I need chips. I need chips. Walls, give me chips. Did you find them? You got corn chips? No, you got Doritos? Oh, my God.
Hey, Dougie found the trips, all right?
Even the day after Trump said that, I don't even know if she's black. What does she do? She comes out of a fucking record store buying black albums. Give me a break.
Oh, that wasn't the day after. That video had been
a week after. Was it a week after?
That video had been filmed like weeks before, and then
released it.
Started circulating. No, it had already been released. It just started circulating again. So it started making the rounds again because of what Trump said.
Still,
but she'd already come. She'd already did that. I think she did that. She wasn't even don't even think she was running yet. I don't even think she was running. I think she was just in the town or whatever that she was in, and she went to the record store to get records.
That she
But
probably never listened to and threw out immediately. Sure.
hey.
Yeah.
She picked some good records, all right? Some jazz, some good classic jazz.
I mean, she's definitely black. She made collard greens in her bathtub. Every black family does that. They make collard greens in their bathtub.
I mean, it's tradition from what I've heard.
Yeah. Oh my God.
No, I mean, yes, I agree. Yeah, that type of pandering and stuff is, I completely agree. It's to the lowest common.
Yeah.
And yeah, they need to, and it sucks too, because you people that like it, and then you have people that don't.
People like me that are like, it's fucking dumb.
Yeah, but at the same time, like that's not a news story. Like, let's focus on the.
Is it a news story? No, it's just something.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine. People like you, but I'm going to the news. The news is going to end up making it a story and doing this and blah 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 and all that.
Well, sure.
And yeah.
Well, sure, because that's what they do. They have to. That's
yeah.
During the election cycle, that's what they have to do. They have to come up with something. But the political pandering really just needs to end all around. Here's the thing. I don't need to relate to a candidate because I can't. Because you know what? I don't care if they grew up in rural bumfuck. You're now a multi-millionaire, which you shouldn't be in politics. A politician should never leave a $150,000 a year job being worth $7 million.
Right.
That's absolutely insane.
Yep.
I wish they would have passed that fucking no trade bill, because I believe there should be no stock trading if you are in government. Fuck you. Sorry. So sorry. If you got stocks before you start service, best sell them now.
Best sell them.
Because that's
yeah, I agree. I do agree with that. Absolutely.
Dumb shit like this doesn't pass because this is how all of them make their money.
Yes, exactly.
Especially Miss Nancy Pelosi over there, who's got
we're getting corporate sponsorships or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's
and
all
lobbyists and all this bullshit throwing money at them. In a way, and this will probably sound crazy to you and other people, but in a way, that's where I do trust Trump more.
Mm-hmm.
Because regardless of what you think of him as a good businessman, a bad businessman, he is a billionaire.
Yeah,
he doesn't need lobbyist money.
Sure. Well, now he does.
No, he doesn't. Which is why he's not campaigning that hard for money.
Well, now he does.
No, he doesn't.
See, that's the thing. He's smart. He did a whole video the other day where he told his supporters, if you don't have the money to support me, okay, you don't have to send me money.
Yeah.
Don't send me money.
Yeah.
But if you have them, because now he's at the point where you got Grant Cardone giving him $50 million to cover his legal fees and all that. You've got it because dude's been over the past few years. Dude's been drained. Does not have the money that he used to anyway. And now it's starting to become a bit of an issue because with the lawsuits, he's losing exponentially more than I think he probably ever thought he would. So yes, I think now it is getting to a point where, like in the beginning, I don't need the money and stuff, and I can partner with. Now I think he's a little bit more easier to buy with all of these legal fees, with all these things going on.
I still don't think so. He's got plenty of money in other entities and companies that he could use. As far as I'm just talking strictly campaign funds.
Yeah.
Strictly campaign funds, I don't think he really needs that much. I honestly don't, which I don't think is why he's not pushing. I don't really see him pushing that hard. He doesn't. When you go to
again, because Trump is friends with all the. And not only that, he's not even having to ask. You got people like Grant Cardone and these other billionaires that are coming out, just donate $50 million, $25 million. Elon Musk donates some money.
Sure.
They're all so he's got talk about those top donors.
But those
Trump's got them.
But those are private people. Do you know who all of Kamala's top donors are? Because they're not private people. I'll tell you that. They're all corporations.
Yeah, I'm sure corporate, and all that type of stuff. But they're still like
her top 10 donors are corporations. So,
but even those private donors run corporations, and they kind of so they're all
Yes, but when Grant Cardone makes a $50 million donation, it's Grant Cardone making a $50 million donation.
Sure.
When Elon Musk makes a however many $1 million donation, it's him. It's not Tesla. It's not X.
Yes.
That's what I mean. when it comes to stuff like that, I trust him a little bit more because of the fact he don't really need their money.
Yeah,
He
to a
doesn't.
certain, but that doesn't mean he
If
can't.
if
He does,
because
doesn't
if
want
he
to.
did,
Yeah.
when we went to her website, when we went to Kamala's website, what was the first thing we were hit with? Wasn't even her homepage of her website. We
Oh
were
yeah,
hit with a fucking
yeah,
donate page.
donation.
Then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
had to skip the donate page to get to her website, which at the very top has another link for you to donate.
yeah.
You
Yes.
go to his page, he has one thing for you to donate. The rest is all policy and his other bullshit.
Right, which is what it should be. But at the same time,
That
too,
doesn't look to
they
me like a
are.
man who's stressing for money, especially when you're asking 80-year-old people for $5.
I don't think again. Also, too, Trump's not going to come out and publicly be stressing for money. Man knows better
He
than
doesn't,
to have that look. So
because I don't think
again,
he has to. I would
and I
say
think
he's
he's
more than comfortable.
yeah, I think he's covered. With, but I don't. But I think he's lost a lot more than he's gained some
Sure,
with
I'm
these
sure
donations
there's
and
no
stuff.
doubt he's
But
lost money and
yeah,
all the lawsuits. Yeah, sure,
yeah,
lawyers and all that legal fees. That's all money. But again, what is a couple million to somebody who's got 10 billion?
well, that's the other thing. He doesn't even have 10 billion. Like he's lied about his assets in that too, and they're not worth as much as he might
Nah.
show.
Okay, you're gonna honestly sit here and tell me Mar-a-Lago's worth $18 million, dude? Honestly.
No, I no, I don't think
Okay.
Mar-a-Lago's worth it.
Well,
No.
that's what the government told him that it was worth, and that he overvalued it, which is part of the reason why he's in with all of these, all in New York with the finance, fraud and finance charges.
Well, if he overvalued it, that means still. My guess
How
is,
could he
yeah.
overvalue it?
What did he over? What are they?
I don't
What was
know.
the claim?
Obviously, way more than 18 million.
It was still, yeah. You're okay if the government comes in and evaluates and says it's 18 million, and you're saying it's 40. Yeah, that's you're breaking the law. You're going beyond your.
But how? But
And
again,
if he's trying to sell it too, that's the main thing. If he's trying, which
he's
I don't
not
think.
selling Mar-a-Lago. That's his.
Right.
The fucking grass is worth 18 million in that place. The land itself is worth 18 million. That's with nothing on it. You see what I'm saying? This is witch hunt
Right.
stuff. This is witch hunt. This is stuff to try and, well, look, he's a
I,
crook.
I do think certain things are at the same time. I do think
Yeah, it is.
there were absolutely legitimate.
That's all witch
That
hunt stuff.
It's just like now it's
Paying
caught in the
somebody
middle of
hush
this
money
presidency.
because you fuck them is not a crime. That is
No, it's not. No, it's not a crime.
No,
Absolutely.
but that's certainly what they brought him to court for, though, wasn't it?
Well, that was the hush money thing was and myself. I know a lot of Bill Maher. A lot of people have said that was a waste of time and the dumbest thing the Democrats did. Yeah, it was.
I mean, you can't deny that this man, since 2016, has been a target of the Democratic Party.
Sure, but at the same time too, it's a weird balance because yeah, they're going after him for as much as they can and stuff.
Yeah, to try. I mean, why would
same,
why would one party want to go after somebody so vigorously? We've never seen this before in politics. Never.
Well, yeah,
Never.
they believe that he's detrimental to, and I think certain things are. Yes, I do. I don't think you should go to the extremes of just like do whatever to get him out or to stop him. But interestingly enough, like yeah, these claims and for even some of them, were before his presidency. These are years worth of him lying on
Sure.
taxes and about the values of his assets and all these.
Hey,
types
he's never lied on taxes. He's
It's
just
just-
used the loopholes that are in the tax code to not pay them, and I would applaud that. Anybody who doesn't do that is an idiot, to be honest.
Well, still the lies on the assets, overvaluing yourself, and all that. That's been taking place since the 90s. Like since early 2000. Like this is nothing new for.
Sure.
The thing here was that
But then why isn't every
caught.
other developer in New York City being hauled into court for the same thing?
That's the thing. That's the thing. I've been
Because
petitioning and I've been saying since this started they should, because you had that fucking Shark Tank guy come out and
Exactly.
go, "This is so bad for me." It's yes, it's
'Cause
bad
everybody
for
does
you
it.
because now you are going to have to be held accountable.
No,
Sorry,
just
you don't
no.
like-
Nobody else has been held accountable yet.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like if they're going to do all that stuff, yeah, go
Did they-
after everybody.
now here's my
Go
question.
put those
After all the-
regulations on and stuff. But
Did
also,
they
yeah,
write a law? Did they pass a bill? Did they pass a law? No,
they need to.
they
and
didn't.
That's what I'm saying. It's a balance where yes, it's the witch hunt thing, and they're definitely going after him for whatever. At the same time, that doesn't mean that he did something wrong. It's just catching up with him, and it's catching up with him at a time where.
But he did
Yeah,
something
for
wrong
any
based
other
on
scenario.
Democratic people saying he did something wrong. Do you see how that's an issue?
not just Democrat. No, as far as the
As far as
line
the
about
as far as the
his
34
assets.
counts of felonies that he got charged for, that was
Yeah,
all.
that's
Who sent the DOJ after him? Why would the Department of Justice come there?
okay. He
How
was a
about
Democrat,
how?
but
Wait,
he still committed the crimes.
but is it a crime? Is it a crime if nobody else is charged with it ever? You can't just
Yes,
single out one
yes.
person and say,
That is
okay, well,
that's that is unfortunately our justice system.
no, that's not our.
As
No,
it
no, no,
has
no.
been for
That's I
many,
think that's
many
our justice system based on what President Sleepy there decided to
no,
send his Department of
that's
Justice
been
on.
our justice system long before Biden
No,
or Trump even came to. Our justice
again,
system is selective.
if it can't be selective, then
It,
why is it
it,
only
but it,
then why is it
but it
only
is.
selecting him for these specific counts?
That's why I say
When the entire city of New York is built on people like him doing the same thing.
I'm
Yet
not
nobody else
disagreeing.
has been gone after. No laws have been passed. No
Right.
bills
You
have
need
been
at
passed.
this point you need a justice reform because this is absolute. You're not wrong, but at the same time,
But that's my point though.
that is our justice system. You catch one person, for some we've never cut, all that type of stuff. Like that's very much happened before, and the rest of these people don't get away with it, and that type of stuff. So that's on the justice system. That's a reform needed within our justice system to bring. And yeah, too, like yeah, Democrats should be pushing for it the most because if you're going to do it with him, then we should be. Now we need the laws to get the rest of them.
Then
And
once
do
he got
that type of
convicted,
stuff.
why wouldn't they fast track a bill or a law to try and stop that? Even at a state level, why didn't the governor or mayor of fucking New
Well,
York
okay,
propose we need to
so
do something here?
because the bills and laws are there, it's just they were never they've never looked into it. They never did the. You have tons. Again, Trump's not the only one.
That's
All these businessmen are now scared because
exactly,
they all do the same thing.
but
All
that's
of them.
why it's a problem. That's why it's a problem because they only went after him. Why didn't they go after the Shark Tank
It's a
guy? He does
problem.
the same
Yes,
thing.
it's a
They
problem
could have
that
went
they.
after him.
I agree with you. It's a problem that they again back to it's a justice thing. It's a problem they went after him, just him. But at the same time, like he's still committed. And now we need to.
I mean,
Now
it's blatant
it's on a
targeting
bigger
of a
scale.
political opponent, though. It's blatant.
Yes, I think
Blatant.
you're going after something that we all kind of figured and
That's
stuff.
what people in that lovely country that you don't like in Russia do. That's not what we do here in the U.S. That's not what we're supposed to do. You don't go after a political opponent because you disagree.
I agree. I do agree. I think like I said, it's a balance because I don't agree that they're coming at him with all this crap. Some of it illegitimate, some of it legitimate, but at the same time, it's just weird. I agree. It's probably not the right time, not the right person, and all that type of stuff. But if this is the start, and that's the thing I've been saying since the beginning. Yeah, this doesn't need to just apply to Trump.
And the only reason they did this
if
is
you want to
because
make
they got
him
a talking point out of it.
if
He's
you
a
want to make
felon
him
34 times.
if you want to make him the example, I'm fine with that. Make him the example, but then it's got to continue. Now we're going to go after the rest of them. We're going to do a whole thing. We're going to do a reform. It's going to be kind of, this whole thing. We're coming after these people that have used these laws for their own financial gain at the at the detriment of the people. So it's just a weird because I agree and like I said, I definitely understand and I do think it's wrong that he's the only one. At the same time, it's a weird thing that's got to start with somebody. I don't think maybe not him, but it's at that point now we're going into a whole thing that, like I said, that whole system needs to be reformed, and our justice system needs a lot of reform in a lot of areas. But I think for the most part that about covers the DNC and a little more.
Oh, yeah. Where are we at? We're right. We're right about where we were at the last time. Yeah, we're right. We're nailing this 240 mark right on the dot. Really.
So I mean, a lot still. There's still so much. We'll see. In the next few weeks, what she says in her policies. We're about 2 weeks out from the debate, which will definitely be around for and stuff.
I mean, I don't know how you want to do that. I don't know if that's something we want to. I don't know if it's something we want to just not even maybe react to live, not show it. We don't obviously, but actually sit here and react to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's something. I mean, we could obviously we got some time. We could talk about it. Obviously,
Yeah, I'm
um,
open. I definitely want to do a live show for sure.
yeah.
Uh,
I think that would be fun. Maybe live reacting to one of the debates, seeing what they're talking about, give our own thoughts and opinions on it as it's
yeah,
going on. I think that would be very interesting for people to watch.
absolutely.
I don't know how much activity they have going on between now and then. I'm sure they obviously they're going to have rallies and stops in between now and then.
Yeah,
Um, I would guess if whichever ones we watch or anything like that. I guess if there's anything that really important comes out in any of those, we should talk about. But
yeah, we'll get back before and stuff, but yeah, we'll probably do something live for the first debate and stuff. We'll see. Maybe Kamala will get a town hall or something in between them to kind of
yeah,
say something. But or some more interviews. Like now's the time for sure. It's crunch time. We're almost 2 months out, and
yeah,
yeah,
it's getting down to the nitty gritty here, and we know. I think we know about. God, I would say we probably have a fair assessment of him, of Trump, where he stands. Um,
yeah,
I would say probably
absolutely.
like 90%. We know what he's about. We know the rhetoric and how he talks and the way he talks. Um, I know everybody loves to give him shit because he always says, the illegal immigrants are coming over and stealing black jobs.
Right, right.
Because then everybody, well, what's a black job? Okay, let me just explain for people who don't know what a black job is. He
Hey, well,
likes to speak in shorthand a lot, and not a lot of people grasp that. So when
isn't
he
the
says
presidency a black job now?
any job's a black job because black jobs are all jobs. It's all jobs he's talking about. How he should have said it was there are illegal immigrants coming over and taking everybody's jobs away instead of
Right.
just pinning it on a specific category. Are they taking jobs away from black people? Sure. Are they taking jobs away from Hispanic people? Sure. Are they taking jobs away from white and Asian? Yes, they're taking jobs away from everybody.
Yeah.
So I get how people get like, oh, well, what the fuck's a black job or a Hispanic job? It's all the jobs he's saying. He's
Yeah.
talking in shorthand and talking the way he talks, which unfortunately for him gets him in trouble sometimes.
Yes.
But you have to be able to understand his little nuances. It's no different than how he acted on The Apprentice or any of that. But
Right.
again, we know where he stands for the most part. It's still her that we're really shaky on because we're not really directly hearing much from her herself.
Yeah.
We get little snippets. She'll take a question
Ideas.
or two. Yeah,
Right.
but she's not sitting down. She's only wanting to do the one debate, not the three, which we both agree that the more
Yes.
debates, the better. Um,
Yes.
the more
Absolutely.
debates, the more town halls, the more we could just hear ideas and policies and opinions from these people, because
Yeah.
that's the only way anybody can really make a real informed decision. Because we're all
Yes.
we have the people nowadays who are just going to make the decision not to vote for him because it's him. We're also going to have the people that make the decision not to vote for her because she's a Democrat.
Yes. Exactly.
So,
Yeah. It's going to go both ways. And like you said too, I think the best is get two. At least two in September and
yeah.
one in October. I'm going to give them grace that probably after early October we're going to see them quiet down a bit as they really start to prepare for the election.
Mhm.
Um, as far as like them debating each other, they're probably going to go back to campaigning hardcore and
Sure.
just using those last couple weeks to really do whatever they can to
Hammer the
boost the
message
numbers.
home.
Yeah, yeah,
I
um,
mean, and I'm interested to see, like I said, I think bringing RFK Jr. over, I think that's big. That's huge when you get a Democrat of whatever you think of the guy, he's political royalty. Um, I am all for appointing Bobby Kennedy as the head of a task force or a committee on presidential assassinations. I am 100% for that. By all means, let him lead that up. I am also for releasing the other 80% of the JFK
and that would be
assassination
great.
files that we haven't seen
I'm all for
because
that.
I think we're oh boy, you ready? I'm going to put myself in a political pickle here, okay?
All right.
You ready? Now, this is let me preface by saying this that the views and opinions expressed on this show are solely that of my own and don't reflect the opinions and views of everybody else. Okay, so there's my disclaimer. Um, But I think from some of the stuff I've read over the years and looked at too, because I do like a good conspiracy theory here and there. Um, but I do think that if those other 80% of documents are released and we find out what or who actually killed JFK, I think that's going to have a very big power dynamic um, when it comes to certain allies that we have right now.
Yeah. I think. Look, I think if it really comes out that it was a major. I mean, it all depends on what you believe on the JFK. I think even the
Well,
documents that were released when Trump was in office even hinted that it was more than likely the mob, the
uh,
mafia that
the
that
mob, or
had
I'm
this
I'm
strong.
actually going into so if you go back during that time during the Cuban Missile Crisis and all that, you have a lot of people who were pushing that guy into war, and he was very anti-war. Didn't want to
Right,
send
right,
troops to Vietnam.
right.
Didn't want to send troops to Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Didn't want to send troops anywhere ever. Good for him. Bravo. Um, but there are some rumblings and talks of Mossad being involved.
Mm.
So that doesn't if this is a huge if here, and this is my own spewing here. If that were to be the case, that really changes the dynamic with some of our
I
Israeli
mean,
friends over there.
yeah, sure, but I don't know. I
Again,
think
we
I
have to
think
wait and see for that.
I think with
That's
him, it definitely leans more towards the mob, and not even to his own fault. A lot of it his father's too, because his father was the one that made a lot of promises to the mob,
yes.
and his father was the one that said, "Oh yeah, Jack will do this, 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 this," and then Jack had a falling out with his dad. It's like, "Fuck you, I'm not him." Like so, I think that's more than likely what it is. Yeah, and if it was anything else, I don't think they'll ever release it.
Oh, I think he will release it. You
I don't
can't
think.
you can't have the nephew of the president that was assassinated head the committee and not release it. That would be
Well, that's what. Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that they would.
he would.
I don't know. I don't
Robert
know.
Kennedy, yeah, his
If it
his
were,
dad and his fucking uncle were
yes,
killed.
yes, yes. But again, that doesn't. He's not the all power here. He doesn't get to like. There are other powers that play. Even Trump may not even if he wants to like. Again, there are certain things for national security reasons and other things like that. Like
Well, yes, which is why he only released 20% when he promised to
right
release the whole 100 because in his words, the other 80% is very damning.
in Trump's words.
Yes. The other 80% is very, very damning.
Yeah. See, that's. I
That
mean,
could, that could be that could be
you're talking,
hyperbole. That could be a
you're talking
hyperbole.
about a government conspiracy where our government was involved in killing our own president. I
Hmm.
don't think that's ever going to see the light of day.
I would think not, but I got I got I got a good feeling about this one.
Even if it was RFK, I think, yeah, even then
I
they'll probably even, I don't think they'll kill him, but they'll probably get to him and say, like, no, you cannot say the full thing. You're going to say this and blah, 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 and we'll just call you crazy if you don't. Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, if that were to actually happen, if that were to actually happen and there was some sort of damning evidence for an
yeah,
ally of ours or or whatever the case may be, and our government had any involvement in it, I mean, like I
yeah,
said, I'm
that's what
going
I'm saying.
conspiracy brain now because
I don't think it would be released. Then, yeah, that's fine. I mean, but if it were, that's, I
if
mean,
that were the case, that would be a really good reason to constantly attack this guy and make everybody, think that he's just a wackadoo and a crazy and, he's going to destroy the country and he's a threat to democracy and all this and that.
yeah.
Because how many of those people might have been involved who've been in fucking government
Well,
this long,
but
and
that's the thing too.
whatever.
I don't see the political fallout of that. I don't see our government
I see the
allowing.
political fallout. That's exactly
I
what we
don't. No,
want.
I'm saying I don't see our government allowing to happen. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it would ever be released.
They wouldn't.
Yeah,
I don't think they'd be able to stop him on those because we've had, I believe, either. God, the time has to be up on those documents, anyways. Honestly,
the time has to, but they can court seal it. They can. There are things they can do to make sure that it never sees the light of day, basically. So,
if that was the case,
yeah.
then wouldn't that vindicate everything Trump's ever said about our
It would,
government?
yeah, it wouldn't help and stuff, and so yeah, but it's a weird situation because, to be honest, neither scenario. If that's the case, like I said, it's a government conspiracy to cover up and all this other stuff they were involved. Like
I mean,
then no scenario is really good. We
no, but
release it and then
don't you
you
think that
have
would allow for the political change that maybe we need now?
that or
Like
war.
something like that. Something
uh,
like that. I actually could see. Honestly, I could actually see something like that
I
uniting people that aren't united anymore. Because how could every side not be upset by something like that
I
and come
guess that's
together
the
with it?
optimistic point of view.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah.
My
That's being very optimistic. Yes.
my head goes towards the outrage from both sides will be so significant, that the country will be just in a complete state of disarray, of complete non-trust of the government, people going crazy,
Yeah, but I
uh,
think maybe we need that
even
at
more
this point.
conspiracy theories. Okay, well, if they did that, then guaranteed they've done other stuff, and
Well, we
it's going to
have.
open a whole, yeah, absolutely, it's going to
We
open a
have.
whole Pandora's box that I don't think our country is ready for.
I think we are. I think we need this. Honestly,
Uh,
I think we need. This is the
I
problem:
think
is
if we
that
were
we aren't told everything.
if we were in a less divided state, but I think that would be the thing to push us to some really devastating stuff. I think, and I think it's just going to be it's not necessarily because people are good or bad. It's just going to be people's reaction. I imagine there's going to be some a massive you know it's going to be worldwide national events, whenever and if they do come out and say that aliens exist, and we've got an alliance with aliens and all this other stuff, like you're changing people's complete world. Because with aliens, right, you've got people who are religious, you've got people who are all of a sudden all these things go out that you're like,
Oh, sure.
your whole world's been the same with politics, but for the most part, people trust their politics. They trust that America doesn't do too crazy things behind things. Like you're dismantling like it will be and people's reactions to that are going to be
Yeah, but you know what
all
though?
over the
If
place.
he actually did that, he'd actually 100% finally be fulfilling a promise he made. Finally clearing the swamp of the deep state
I mean,
that he's always talking about.
it would
People
just
behind the
be
scenes doing these shady and nefarious things.
the fact is if it were going to happen, it would have to be so organized, so thought out, and so because you'd have to prepare for the fallout, you'd have to prepare for, like you said, probably getting rid of most government officials, brand new elections, all
Which
these
is,
types of.
think about it though. That falls in line with his plan why he wants to be able to get rid of a lot of government officials and get rid of
Yeah,
public service.
but that's also kind of again, but for what gain? To bring in people for you, to bring in people for the country. Like that's the thing with Trump. You've proven that you don't do it with the intention of for everybody. You do it with the intention of for you. And so that's the the other part too. Where great, let's get rid of everybody. What just to bring people who are more loyalty to one person instead of the country, and that goes for both sides. Uh, yeah, I think it's that's something that really needs to be. I mean, there were rumors back with in the 2020 election, that Trump was going to call for some Bill Clinton act that would shut down the government, give the military power to figure out what happened with the election, fire everybody from government, redo elections
Yeah,
across every state.
I,
I mean,
I honestly I don't see an issue with that because a lot of these people need to go.
I don't see
Honestly,
the issue with it. It's just not going to happen. Like I said, that's got to
no,
be a planned. because there's going to be a lot of chaos too. With
Well,
no government officials, you're going to have
I would say this. I would say
riot.
if he does win this election, I would prepare yourself for a lot of chaos, a lot, because I'm pretty sure there's
Well, I
if
look,
he
even though I
wins,
don't like the guy and I think he is a detriment to democracy in certain ways, I still don't. I'm still not on either side of either one of them
sure.
comes and there's chaos and there always
No.
is for a little bit and stuff. I think if Trump wins, there'll be
Oh, there will
a
be
little
chaos.
bit of upset from the left and all that and blah blah blah.
I
But
have
by
a
the time
feeling if he wins, they're going to try and disqualify him. I'll bet you.
I'll I'll
I'd
I
be
will
willing to bet $100 that if he wins the election, they're going to come out and try and disqualify him on something. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
I would hope not. I'm going to say and stick that
And
hopefully
if that does happen, oh
Dems
my
do the
God.
right thing and don't do that. But
Yeah.
no, I don't think so. I think it'll be hopefully I think it'll be cleaner than the 2020 election, and I think whoever loses will take it, even if it's Trump. I hope to God he does.
Trump said he would, as long as the election's fair. I mean,
Well, he said he would to the last two times too, and then
yeah,
he
but
quit.
he didn't believe the election was fair. I
I
can't
mean,
fault somebody for that.
yeah, but also
If you
too,
don't
you
think it's
didn't.
fair, you don't think it's fair.
That's fine. You don't have to believe it, but then you got all the evidence thrown at you, and it's like, well, now
He didn't.
now
He
now
didn't.
you're just
He
crazy.
didn't. I don't think he thought he had all the evidence.
What now? Well, now we definitely have all the evidence and stuff.
No, there's still shit going on in Georgia right now where they're finding out more shit about ballots that were hidden and people that were doing nefarious things. It goes on every day, but nobody reports about it.
Well, as far as
There's
the
still
actual,
shit going on about the 2020 election right now. Still,
I think as
which
far
is
as the
crazy.
actual election, yeah, but as far as the actual 2020 election, like all that type of stuff, I think they said, yeah, that happens in every election with certain things. But even then, this was the most, most certified, most double, triple, quadruple checked, most,
I
like,
don't know about that though, especially when you look
and
at how
twice in a row,
election went though. You got to
and
look at
twice.
how the election went. Biden was done until 4 a.m. when his here. I'll even get on camera for this so I could show how he went. Where are you? Oh wait, let me turn out light here so I'm not sitting in the dark like a loser. Yeah, that's me. See, that's me, Bob. Right there, that's my actual figure.
This is me.
That's me.
That's pretty sick.
But yeah, 4 a.m. he went from plateauing to shooting straight up and surpassing good old.
Well, yeah,
Biden.
but that was because of the what was it? Was it the I can't
It was
remember.
because they all of a sudden 800 some thousand votes showed up, all for Biden and none for Trump.
But what was it? Was that the mail-in votes, or was it there was something that it was?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was the mail-ins. And you're going
yeah.
to tell me that not one mail-in voted for Trump? They were all for Biden? That seems a little sketchy, huh?
But
Seems a little
every
weird.
single now if every single yes, but
Which they
again,
did. That's why he went from a plateau to a straight line up at 4 a.m, no less. How many states on the United election stopped counting?
now I do
votes?
now I do remember that, and now the other big thing too was because of COVID and the mail-in votes, they weren't very prepared. And so that's the other thing too that they talked about. Now, if that ever happens again, I think they even put some things in the law where, yeah, next time those mail-in votes are going to be counted before, so that way we're not doing this thing of we have the election night votes and then we're going back and counting the mail-ins and we've got it's taking 2-3 days to get shit done. Yeah. So that was a big issue was that they were.
Bob.
Fucking,
Bob the Goon. That's me.
but yeah, no, I mean, I think for the most part, though, I think he will. I can still see something, but I think
it's going to be very interesting. It's kind of exciting. We could have a civil war. We could have a peaceful power. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I like to think that I don't think we're just like
look at the way the political climate is. Anything could happen right now. Really, anything could. Anything.
True.
Anything's possible. It really is.
I think I do just like I said, I've always been this way too, especially like the way I was raised, the ultra conservative and stuff, because I got the very ultra like, oh, if Dem wins, it's the end of the world and all. I think it's just that extremist on both sides. Where I'm
Sure.
like, either way, I think we're going to be fine for 4 years. Whoever
Most likely. I would hope so.
I would hope
I would
so,
hope so.
unless things really go to shit. I could be wrong on that because I was wrong. I was wrong with Trump in the last time, and so I didn't think he would go as far as he did with all that and stuff. And so I I could be, but I think the country is over not wanting that to happen again. And so I think even you know even if Trump wins and all that, I think we're just gonna be like, okay, we're going with it. Like I don't think it's gonna be as and true too. Like you have to imagine this is gonna be probably the most watched election in history as far as
Yes.
the
Well, I mean, it's already being touted as the most important election in history. So
right, yeah, which I don't even know if it's that. I wouldn't, but
well, I
definitely,
mean,
definitely the most like the most watched coming after
well,
the
I mean, they're
20.
playing it up as the most
Yeah,
important, like because of the way it's being set up. Is you're the way the media and the way even Trump is calling it this way too. It's and the way the Democrats are calling it. You're basically got it's from what Trump says, it's communism
right.
versus the end of democracy.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So we're fucked either way. It's like,
But well, yeah, if you want to listen to the news and everybody, yeah, we're in horrible shape because of the fact that we're either going to lose our democracy or we're going to fall into communism. And at this
yeah,
point, I honestly think it is a toss up right now between chaos and peacefulness.
yeah.
Really anything can happen.
I do think, yeah, I think it leans more towards that than like back in 2016 or 2020 when I could still pretty comfortably go like, yeah, I think the extremists will have their moment like they usually do on either side, and then we'll move on. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I just hope that my hope is we move on from this. First of all, like Kamala and the Dems really take away what Obama and some of those others said at the DNC, which is like, let's get away from this rhetoric. Let's
Yeah.
actually focus on some policies and debates and issues and all that type of stuff and all that. Because yeah, both sides need to get away from that, and
Yeah.
Dems have definitely fallen in just as much for sure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, with that, Bob,
Whew.
any final thoughts?
Oh my God. Not really. I think we had another really good discussion. Once
Absolutely.
again,
Yep. Yes.
we went past 3 hours this time, so we've clocked in like 5 hours and 50 minutes, almost 6 hours of political talk in
Right.
2 episodes we did. Want to give I do want to give a quick little shout out on our last video. There was I saw that there was 2 comments on there. I want to give a shout out to Nick F, who said I was his hero. Thank you so much for that. You're an amazing guy. Then there was another comment I just saw the other day from an It's Mr. Toker who said that he fucking loves Austin. So shout out to that guy as well.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure they're both upstanding, real good guys.
gentlemen.
Yeah.
They're yeah.
Yeah. See, there's good people on both sides.
Exactly. Fine. They're fine people on both sides.
There's fine people on both sides. Okay, both sides. They were this side and that side, and they're fine. Okay, they're all fine.
Or do the Obama the crowd size? Oh God, Chuck Schumer when he came out dancing at the fucking DNC. Like, oh no, Chuck, don't do that.
But yeah, no, this has been great again, man. I'm happy we're doing this. I love doing this with you. I'm excited for the debates. I'm excited to see what we do next. It's been great, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, of course, for being here. To anybody who's watching this stuff, thanks for watching us and
Absolutely, thank you.
Checking it out. We're definitely our goal is to just kind of try and bring, like we said, we're not political commentators. We're just people having a conversation, and I think that's more interesting than the news or hearing all this stuff because you're actually these are what 2 people actually think.
Yes.
Of our candidates and what's going on and trying to do our own research and do all that. So
yeah, and maybe maybe during the debates when they're talking, stuff might get a little heated. Who knows? But for the most part, our goal here really is to just show that political discourse between 2 parties can be had without each other name calling. Who's a Nazi? Who's a communist?
Right.
Who, none of that. We don't need none of that because we talk off air all the time. Every day we're pretty much in contact.
Exactly. Yeah, I
So
think with our daily chats, we're probably like 10 hours of political talk with
we're probably way beyond that, honestly. I
Right.
mean, we talk about all sorts of things and everything. So I mean, and
Yeah.
that's the beauty of this. That's the beauty of this country. That's the beauty of having freedom of speech that is guaranteed, Mr.
Absolutely.
Walls. Um,
Mr. Walls.
Mr. Walls, stop saying that freedom of speech is not guaranteed because it is.
I don't
Um,
like that, Mr. Walls.
but yeah, I mean, we have good conversations. We have a good flow, I think, and it's fun.
Yeah,
It's
I
fun.
agree. I agree. I really enjoy this. This is always awesome. So, yeah, make sure and tune in. We'll be back next week and the week after with all the fun updates and all that. Thank you again to everybody watching us. Share us with
Yes.
anybody that you think might enjoy some
Yes.
good down to earth political talk. That's just trying to
Absolutely.
have some conversation. So
And like the goddamn video and
yeah,
give
like the video,
give Border Lanes
subscribe.
videos a follow as well and a subscribe. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, check out the description. You can find Bob on the internet as well, on the
Yes,
Twitter.
I'm
And
out there.
yes, with that, everybody, thank you again so much for watching, for tuning in. And with that, we will see everybody next time. Peace out.